Hello, I am Daniel Bloodworth. We are Easy Allies, and this is the Easy Allies podcast. This week, I am joined by Mitch Saltzman.
What's up?
From IGN. Playing some games we want to talk about this week.
Yeah, excited. Tekken.
Sick.
Also joined by Michael Huber, faced with the eternal traffic.
Yeah. When the vice president comes to town, they shut that road down.
Stops.
Yeah.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah, so you'll see some like weird ins and outs as we're dealing with everybody's schedules today. It's going to be a little like jumpy around with the podcast. Also joined by Michael Damiani.
How's it going?
And in the control room, making it all happen, Isla Hink.
Hi.
Don Casanova running around somewhere.
He's over there.
By the pizza box. There you go. There
with
he
the
is.
Little Caesars pizza. Nice.
Pizza.
Oh, Damian stays with us too back here.
Oh, yeah. and Gabby's back there too, if you can see her. Friends, we are here to talk about what's new, what's news, and what we've been playing.
But first,
What's up?
corrections.
No.
Oh,
Mitch is here to chat with us about Tekken 8 and Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, among other things. Palworld is out. It is huge. There's lots of craziness going on with it. So we'll try to unpack all of that. Plus Suicide Squad has revealed the start of its post-launch content, and the Joker is back, I guess. But before we get started, we must answer the wrong question. Okay. Now that the multiverse has allowed Rocksteady to bring the Joker back as a playable character in Suicide Squad, which not quite Pokemon should join in future seasons?
Which not quite Pokemon?
In
Yeah.
Suicide Squad?
In Suicide Squad.
Oh,
Iron
As
Man.
a playable character.
Iron Man.
he's not a Pokemon.
Not-
Yep,
n-
wrong
n-
answer. Iron Man. Marvel.
That's
Marvel's
not the
coming.
wrong answer. It's the wrong
He
question.
doesn't
Marvel's
understand
coming.
the premise of this bit.
Not quite Iron Man. Okay.
The Sujimon in Infinite Wealth.
Nice.
That's like he's all oiled up and he goes like this. That guy.
I think they should chuck Garbodor in there.
Hell
just,
yeah.
Just Garbodor.
Not quite Garbodor. Okay.
No, just actual Garbodor.
Not quite Garbodor.
They get the rights from Nintendo for Garbodor.
Love Garbodor.
Damiani?
I mean, can we just put not quite Mr. Mime in there? Just
Yes.
let
Perfect.
the insanity loose.
That is
Like
perfect.
I would just love to see not quite Mr. Mime encountering some of those Suicide Squad members. I think it would be pretty good.
Yeah. I've thought not quite coughing, because
Coughing.
it already floats inexplicably, like most of the Suicide Squad characters.
Great. Great.
It's got that poison gas. Always love a good poison gas.
Yes.
And that's you've got all those like little traits and stuff in those characters.
Totally.
And then could also that gas could act as cover too for like another player maybe, like
smoke
create like
screen.
a smoke screen of some
Yeah.
kind. Plus it's purple. Got lots of purple in that Suicide Squad.
So,
there
purple
you
the
go.
game.
Yeah.
For sure.
Purple the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought Saints Row was purple.
Yeah,
in the game.
step aside,
Suicide
Saints
Squad's
Row.
coming for it.
Oh yeah, they shut that whole place down.
Every
so-
time Judgment Day comes out, I think of Saints Row.
Cue the Judgment Day music.
Nice. Mitch, you were here last time was like last April.
Yeah, it's
So-
been a hot minute.
Yeah, want to catch up a bit with what's been going on. How's your year starting out with all this craziness?
Oh my God, it's probably the most busy January I've ever had. So I'm doing Dragon's Dogma IGN first. Been doing
Yeah.
woo! Let's hear it for Dragon's Dogma.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been doing like all kinds of coverage for that, editing videos, transcribe or like getting transcribed interviews onto like the site, and having to like put embeds in between every two paragraphs.
Right.
It's,
Fun.
it's surprisingly a lot of work.
Transcribing interviews is a ton of work.
Yeah, and then on top of that, I've been moved to the guides team at IGN, so I've been doing guides for Dondoko Island in Infinite Wealth, which is just ridiculous. I put
Yeah,
like 15 hours into
insane.
just that thing alone. And so yeah, then raising a 1-year-old baby. It's been
congrats.
a lot, but it's very rewarding, and I'm very happy to be in the position that I'm in.
Yeah. How many of those things do you do for something like Dragon's Dogma? Because I've seen like a bunch of different tweets and stuff about it. Like, how much have you done so far?
It's like 8 different pieces of content.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I'm so jealous.
Like for any game, that's a lot of content to
Yeah.
get out there, especially pre-release.
How can
Yeah.
we get a deal where we get like Easy Allies second? You know? Like, we don't need it as early, but I want to play Dragon's Dogma, dude.
You did get to play some a little bit.
That's true. I played like 2 hours of it. I'm sure Mitch has played more than that.
I've played 10.
You bastard!
What is
That's
kinda
5
stood
times
out?
more than what I did, right? Yeah.
What is one of the things that stood out? Like you kind of feel like one of the biggest like revelations or whatever.
I think it's probably the immersion of exploration and like how natural exploration feels in that game, because there's no quest boards, there's no like exclamation points above people's heads.
Interesting,
It's
yeah.
all kind of
Oh
it's
my
almost like
God.
Yakuza. You run into an area, people will come to you, and you don't have to like seek things out. Which
This is music to my freaking ears, man.
yeah, I'm a big fan of. I have my preview going up tomorrow, so take a look at it.
Yeah.
Check a look.
Check
Yeah.
a look.
Check a
And
look.
I know that fast travel quote was going all
Oh
around.
yeah,
that was spreading.
When I got that quote back, I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe he just said that." he is such a delightful human being. He's just very earnest, very passionate, and yeah, I love Hideaki Itsuno.
Hell yeah.
So I had follow-up questions about that. Does that mean that fast travel works kind of the same way it did in 1? Do you have like a finite? I don't know how much we're allowed to say.
I will say, stay tuned for my preview
Watch
tomorrow.
the preview tomorrow. Okay, gotcha.
I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about some games.
Yeah.
Tekken 8.
Yes.
Gun.
It is out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mitch, you've been
See,
playing
the
it.
jacket.
Yeah, I brought the jacket.
Oh,
and the
they look
preview of
so good, blood.
that. And the little statue they had there too.
Show it off. Look at that
Nice.
wing. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, this has been really great. I am a complete newcomer, really. Before the preview event, I played through the Tekken 7 story mode, and like we've had some things here in the office, some competitions and stuff. But really, like I've never like dug into Tekken before, and so it's fun. But even there, like I see the like leap from the story mode in 7 to the story mode in 8. I've played through this whole story mode. I've started Arcade Quest. I've done some practice and stuff. And like, yeah, and then just like seeing the reception around, like it is really, really doing well.
9 from IGN.
Yeah.
Wow. Very nice.
But yeah, I feel like Tekken has kind of been around forever, and everyone who's kind of like, you know, within my age has just had Tekken always around them. Like, you know, you go to an arcade, it's there, you put in a quarter, you smash the buttons, you have a good time. And that was kind of what Tekken was for me for a long time. Like, this is not a fighting game that I consider myself particularly great at, but it's still a fighting game that I enjoy playing. And so Tekken 8 was kind of like the game where I'm like, okay, this time
Right.
I'm going to try to get good at Tekken, because I've tried it before and I usually bounce out of it. Because Tekken, like, I think the thing that's so amazing about Tekken as a series is that it works on all the different levels. Like, as a beginner, at a beginning level, it's fun because you can just get in there. There's like hundreds of moves. It's fun to find you know, what the moves are that work, and just, you know, spam buttons, and you can have a good time just doing that. At an intermediate level, like, the combos themselves are not that hard. You can, like, you know, do pretty well just learning one combo and, you know, taking that online. And then at an expert level, it's just a completely different story. There's just so much tech to this game. Just movement itself is a skill that you have to learn.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like all that has always been really, really appealing to me. And then having this story mode is kind of, I think, the thing that I needed to really like get myself invested in Tekken lore, because I think it's really a fantastic story mode, on par with what NetherRealm has been doing over the years. I think this is kind of like the first time that a Japanese developer has really nailed that style of story mode. Street Fighter tried it with 5, didn't really work. But I think what makes Tekken 8 story mode so unique is that they don't just try to do what NetherRealm has been doing. They put their own spin on it. This is the NetherRealm story mode if you made it just anime.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like Yeah, we're not getting into any of the spoiler parts, so don't worry about that. But it goes full on hard anime. By the time you get to
anime.
the end of this, it is just wild.
Yeah. And one of the things I really appreciate about that is that it manifests within the actual combat. It's not just limited to cutscenes. You go into a fight, and you'll do some damage, and then mid-fight there will be a transformation of the other enemy, and now you're fighting a completely different kind of battle. And there's like mid-match cutscenes where if you land a certain move, like the camera will shift, and you'll hear like a unique piece of dialogue.
Yeah.
It's just really, really smart, forward-thinking stuff for like moving story modes and fighting games forward.
Yeah, and to that effect, like, yeah, the kind of thing of like, it's like, oh, you're beaten, but you're not beaten. And so like there's like a lot of like playing around with like life bars and stuff like that. And yeah, and Don, like you played through the story mode to some extent too, right? Did you get the whole thing?
No, not the entire thing.
Okay.
But, I'm loving it very much. I'm very close. The thing I love about the story mode is not just like you said, Mitch, the production value is like right up there with NetherRealm. You could even argue in some aspects it's exceeding it, I think, with like the current MK1 if you put them toe to toe. The story mode in this is so good, not just because of the production values, but this actually, Tekken like began in the 90s when the genre of just like martial arts movies and as an extra genre was still really big, obviously, I think, and stuff. And so it's just so fun to have this, to me, feels like a movie from that time almost, but like AAA budget, like tentpole. Like I would love to see this adapted as like a big screen picture because it's like entertaining in that way. You know what I'm saying? And so I've been loving it.
And one other thing I want to touch on is that Mortal Kombat does the thing where it bounces around different characters in different chapters, and that's great in that. From a gameplay standpoint, you're getting to try out a whole bunch of different characters.
Yeah.
Tekken 8 kind of focuses you in on Jin for like a majority of the game.
Yeah, I was just thinking that because like I do appreciate that. There are times where you sample other characters and you trade off. I do wish they had like let us capture Chapter 5 because I understand like beyond that like there's all kinds of crazy spoilers.
Yeah.
But like Chapter 5 in particular is like you have that tournament in the arena and it's like and you kind of go through a bunch of different characters and like you get to pick like which side you're going to play while you go through that. And it's so funny to see these characters from around the world. One of the things that gets me though, Mitch, is they have this like weird dynamic where some of the characters just speak Japanese, but some of the characters
I like
speak
this.
their own language.
I love this. You like this?
I love it too.
You
It's
get an Italian guy speaking
inclusive.
Italian. You get a French guy speaking French. But then they all just understand like
each
they
other.
have a babble fish. It is hilarious because
And they never explain there's no like in-game explanation of like, oh, they all have like a thing in their ear that just automatically translates.
Right.
When you describe it, though, it sounds like it would not be smooth. But don't you think it actually plays out really smoothly, though? When it's first happening, you almost don't know.
bizarrely smoothly. That's the problem, Don. It's like I think there's a point where like Azucena or somebody is like asking Leo where he's from, and like he speaks German. Like he's probably from Germany. Like you're talking in Spanish, he's talking in German.
It's funny though because it caught me off guard a little bit at first, but then just before the podcast, actually, I was watching some scenes, and Isla was over, and she's like, "Why is that guy suddenly talking German?" And then I was like already totally tuned out to it. Like it didn't take long at all for me to just get used to it. At first, I was like, "Oh wait, what are they doing?" Then I was like, "Oh, this is neat."
Well, I mean, my favorite thing is that people understand King, who is a Mexican luchador who
But he
doesn't speak Spanish.
Just
he
Jaguar
speaks Jaguar.
growls. Yeah.
And yet everyone understands what he's saying.
It's funny too. A lot of like Paul, just in particular, speaking English, but like the way he like pronounces and mispronounces a lot of
Yeah.
stuff. It's just
yeah.
like funny,
Yeah,
like a good-
Leroy's voice is great too. Yeah.
So they do a lot of good things, and all the voice acting's like really great. Like the accents are great. And everything.
It's funny because I don't think Paul's voice is that great, but it fits within
I
the
think it's
context
humorous.
of
Yeah,
the story
yeah.
because he is kind of portrayed as like this silly American who wouldn't. Why would he pronounce Kazuya correctly?
Right,
so
right,
he's
right.
always like Kazuya.
Kazuya. I love it. Yeah, I like that.
There is one part, and I won't get into the story side of it, but just mechanically, they do this crazy thing where there's like this big, intense like group battle where you're like fighting like a room full of people essentially. And that is like the one part where it got like a little weird, a little rough for me, like trying to figure out like who you're targeting at any particular time. I did have some characters in there like get frozen up in like T poses as well.
What I'll say about that is that like I appreciate the ways in which Tekken 8 story mode experiments with like kind of different ways, because it gets a little, even the NetherRealm fighting games, they get a little formulaic with how they introduce battles. Like it's let's spar, or oh, you insulted me, now we will fight, or it feels like they exhausted all the ways to get two people to fight a one-on-one battle. And so I appreciate the way Tekken kind of subverts that by experimenting a little bit with the formula.
Yeah.
I don't think the section you're talking about is one of the stronger parts of it, but I still appreciate its inclusion because it is kind of like that break in the monotony of just one-on-one fights after one-on-one fight.
Yeah, it's a neat idea. Just the execution is a little rough. The other thing that's a little funny with the story mode is that the big bombastic cutscenes are running at like 30, and the gameplay is at 60. And so there will be times when a fight is coming just because the frame rate gets better. It's like, oh, pick up the controller, get ready.
Yeah. But also, even though they're in, it's in 30, when it switches to cutscene mode, it looks phenomenal.
It's so good.
It looks really, really incredible. One other thing I want to touch upon is, there's the special style in this game.
Yeah.
And I think more so than that being a really great addition to the actual combat outside of story mode, it's really, really good for story mode where you're going into different characters that you probably haven't played yet, and you get to play a match and still use cool stuff. You're not just fumbling around looking at your move list, trying to figure out how to do a basic combo. If you don't want to do that, you have the option of just turning special style on, mashing a button, and still have a good time.
Yeah, and to explain that, we talked about this in the preview too, but to explain how special style works is the L1 on the PlayStation controller switches you into special style. So normally, your face buttons are your punches and kicks, but when you switch to special style, the square button is now special moves, and it's almost like Smash Brothers, where it's like you use square neutral as one move, square forward is another move, et cetera, et cetera. And then triangle will start an air combo. So whatever that move, it might be a completely different input with a different character, but whatever move is going to launch somebody in the air, you'll do that with triangle. And then X is the power smash,
crush,
and then
circle is throw, probably, right? I believe
circle can
is
throw or low attacks.
Yeah.
But what's nice is that you can toggle between them back and forth really quickly. So it's if you're comfortable enough with a lot of basic stuff with the regular controls, but then you haven't memorized all of your special moves, you can kind of play with that back and forth.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, we're showing some of the practice mode here too. I was fumbling around with this with both Raven and Victor. And I really like all the stuff they do here. You can see your full command list on there, what you're actually doing. You can pin something up to the top there. You can see all the stats. But the pin really helps. And not only that, but you can have them do a demo. So you can see what does this move look like if you do it correctly, and then kind of compare. And that's the thing I was struggling with, is figuring out the timing with a lot of button presses. So some of the timing is so quick, it's almost like a roll between two buttons.
Yeah.
Some of it's so quick, and then it's funny how some of it you really need to wait as you're going through the combo. There's it varies, which is interesting, because something like Mortal Kombat is usually a very steady pace from all the combos.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat, you pretty much just enter the whole combo string without worrying about timing, and then it just happens. This, you definitely have to wait for the right moment to hit the button, and if you miss time that button press, then you drop the combo.
Yeah.
Have you gotten to check out the replay stuff at all, or do you know about the replay stuff?
I know about the replay stuff. I haven't really checked it out, but it sounds cool.
So all the stuff that you've mentioned about the training mode, I think is pretty standard among top level AAA fighting games. The replay stuff, though, is where it gets insane, because you're able to, let's say, I have you and me have an online match. I can then go back into that match, and at any point where you do a move that is unsafe, it will tell me what an optimal punish is for that move. It will like pause it, a combo will pop up, and then I'll be able to go into an actual training mode and practice that combo on a dummy.
So awesome.
It is unbelievable. I think like that is genre defining stuff.
Yeah. And this what's on the screen here too is kind of cool too, because like they have these challenges for each character to like learn a bunch of different combos, and some of them are tough. Some of them like I don't know if I would like retain this information, but it is cool to have sort of like that thing of like, okay, let me do these challenges and see if I can pull them off, and they give you rewards and stuff for that too. There's some trophies and some banner things and all of that.
Yeah, Tekken is a very hard game to get into at like higher than an intermediate level. But I think Tekken 8 does about as good of a job as I can ever imagine it being done, of making that barrier of entry much more manageable.
Yeah. And they talk about that in the arcade quest too. It's like one of the plot points is like, hey, we just want to have fun, and this other guy is like, competition is the only way.
And he's like the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
Can we talk about arcade
Yes,
quests? Because it's such a delight.
I love it.
I said I was on Kind of Funny talking about this game, and most fighting games struggle to have a good story mode. Tekken has 3 good story modes.
Yes.
And that's kind of crazy. So Arcade Quest, basically, the way I describe it is the plot of Pokemon if you were to apply that to fighting games.
Right.
You like, everyone in this world is obsessed with Tekken. You go to different arcades across this little area, fight the gym leader. You experience a little mini arc within that little arcade, and then you move on to the next one. And what's also really, really cool about it is that they also use it as a way to teach you how to play Tekken. Every arcade has kind of a different lesson that they really drill into you, and it's not an overwhelming ramp up. Like they do a really good job of introducing really basic stuff at the beginning, and by the time you're at the end, you're learning how to do like air combos. You're learning how to do an air combo into a tornado, into like a catch, and then you're able to do like actual real cool Tekken combos in a way that's very easily taught and very easily understood. And it's just such a good mode. I love this mode so much.
And the way also, I think just like, the charmingness of the design of the arcades, and that you get not only all these challengers within each arcade that you can like fight against to raise your skills, but there's also just a bunch of like NPCs in the arcades that are just part of the story world there. Yeah. They're just bitten off. They'll just have 1 or 2 lines each, but it's just like really clever stuff for not just like arcade, like history, kind of historical stuff, or like cultural kind of stuff, but that did exist, but also just in this world of arcades that they create, like Mitch said, where it's like arcades are just part of like every facet of society kind of deal.
Right.
And there's like a lot of respect for that. It's just a part of culture, So, but you also get all these references to what like classic 90s, and early 2000s arcade.
Well, and what's great is like you can even see on the screens like little quick screenshots of like old like Xevious and Dragon Spirit and some of the old Tekkens are in there as well, and they've got a bunch of posters and figurines in there.
Little concession stands within the arcades. The arcade design gets like really over the top too. It gets like fantastical as well as you continue to progress. In a really enjoyable way.
And there's really cool like progression to it too, because there are people you can fight that will give you customization options for your avatar. And the customization is not super deep, but it's still very cool to be able to win a new hat or whatever, and be able to say, oh, you know what, actually I'm gonna throw that on, if only because it proved that I won this fight.
Yeah, the arcade mode just works really good at keeping interested, especially for like for the single player experience, I think too, in keeping your interest there a little bit. And as opposed, to not be able to jump around like you're not in the mood for story mode, it's actually a lot more entertaining than I expected it to be.
And I think especially like if you start story and you feel like you're kind of struggling to get through some fights, like I would recommend going to Arcade Quest
100%, because
like Mitch is saying, like it really like goes through all the basics, teaches you all the systems. You can skip some of those tutorials; they could be an option for that too. But if you want to like get your like lay the groundwork for how this game works, like Arcade Quest is kind of the way to go.
Yeah, I think it's also a really good way to learn the character, because you're not in this mode. You're not required to choose Jin all the time. Like you can pick whoever you want. The lessons are kind of built around who your character is. So yeah, it's
and there's
really
individual
good.
matches in there, and there's trainings, but there's also tournaments. So there's like a nice variety of sort of activities you're participating in too. So it's not it didn't get old at all. I was surprised how long it sustained my interest.
There's like an arcade that's all focused on people who treat Tekken as like a cosmetic thing.
Yes.
They're all about making the really cool
high style
Yeah,
and
we have a
showing
clip
off
for the customization too. If you want to throw that on, there are so many weird.
It's that girl right there.
crazy
She's
little
like
options
really
and
into
stuff.
it. Yeah.
There's some like sketch underground arcades too that
Yeah.
are like super intimidating. Like talking about like only certain people could play on the machines and all this stuff. It's like really funny. Just a lot of humor in it.
So many different options and outfits and stuff.
And
for them.
that's the other thing in the arcade. Yeah, you just come across like insane variety. You get a good glance at what there is because there is a lot of customization for the characters themselves, not the avatars, but for the actual fighters in this game. It's quite impressive.
Yeah, let's go back to some mechanics. What do you think about the heat system? This is new. You have a blue bar under your health, and then at any point during the fight, you can activate it either with a button that's like dedicated to activating heat, or with certain moves will initiate heat. And then once it burns out, then like you don't have it until the next round.
Yeah, it's one per round. I'm always a big fan of mechanics that force you to make interesting decisions in fighting games, and this is definitely one of them. It's a gamble to use your heat too early, because then you're left without it for the rest of the match. But also, like, you want to make sure that you're using it every round, because if you miss your opportunity to use it, you threw away your opportunity to maybe mount a comeback if you're getting your butt kicked. I'm not, as I said before, like, I'm not a legacy Tekken player. I dabbled in Tekken 7, smashed buttons on pretty much every Tekken before that. So this is like the first time I'm really, really like trying to learn the mechanics and all that stuff. And, the idea of the rage system is to...
Heat system or rage?
Heat system. The idea of the heat system is to encourage aggression.
Yeah.
So it's meant to like get you in there. You can activate it, and you can use like a dash. And while you're in that dash stance, you are at frame advantage, which basically means it's your turn. If they try to press a button, you will practically always beat them. So it's a really good mechanic at like making sure you're getting in there and getting in someone's face and making it hard for them to get away from you. So yeah, I think it's a really cool mechanic. I think we'll obviously see how pros make use of it.
Yeah.
That will be the big test. But as someone who's just trying to learn the ropes, I've been enjoying it a lot. And also, I really like that every character uses it differently. Like for Kazuya, it allows you to do. There's a move called Electric Wind God Fist, and to do that normally, you would have to have like a just frame input. So you'd have to hit, the input command, and you would have to hit two buttons at the exact same time. And it's a very technical move. But if you have heat mode activated, you'll get the electric version of it every single time.
Got it.
So it makes that character a lot stronger for a lower level player.
Yeah, and you do chip damage when people are blocking. There are moves that you can only do during heat, and then if you if you hit that R1 again, like you basically can like burn all of your heat with like one like essentially finisher, which is kind of similar to activating the rage art, but the rage is a little different because with rage it's like based on how much health you have left. So like the lower your health, the harder your rage is going to hit.
Yeah, and also like you only get the access to your rage art when you have like I think 20, maybe like 15%
left.
health.
Yeah.
But that's your Hail Mary card. Like that's if they block your rage art, you're dead. If they block your heat special move, then it's fine. Like you're probably still even at advantage.
Right.
So that's kind of like the difference between those two moves. Rage arts also deal a massive amount of damage.
Is there some trick to these things that like they want you to push like 4 face buttons at the same time? Have you figured that
Get a
out?
stick. You gotta get a stick.
There's probably a macro that you can press.
You gotta
like,
get a stick. You gotta get a
That's
fight
what I was
stick.
wondering. Because like, wait, because I just like my hand just can't do that. I don't know what they're.
Yeah,
What the
I
deal
mean,
is with those.
there's definitely like the trigger buttons have some sort of combination of buttons attached to them, and if you press those buttons down at the same time, that's how you can do it. But yeah, I would say just get a stick, scrub.
Chat had a few questions.
Yeah.
2 basically. Like, how are the mind games in this, and how's the net code? Do we know either of those things yet?
I mean, mind games is typical Tekken. The thing about the heat system is that, like I said before, when you block a heat engager, you are at disadvantage, a frame disadvantage. So you basically have to guess what is coming next. It could be a throw, it could be a low, it could be a mid, and that puts you at a real bad spot because if you guess wrong, then you're going to take a lot of damage. If you guess right, then it's a good chance to like turn the tables because usually if someone overcommits, then you can punish them for a lot of damage. So there's always going to be that mind game element to it. As far as the netcode, from what I'm hearing online right now, it's struggling a bit.
Yeah, launch day woes. Did you get to be in the early session at all?
Yes, and
Okay.
it was fine. It was fine for me. I played a couple of people.
It was interesting because at the live event they made a real clear thing of like that they were using rollback netcode and it was a big deal and everything, but then it seemed to not be going so well.
Well, I mean, the thing about rollback netcode is that rollback netcode by itself does not mean that it's good netcode.
Yeah.
There are good implementations of rollback netcode. There are bad implementations of rollback netcode. Street Fighter V had rollback netcode and is considered to have like one of the worst online, environments of fighting games. Street Fighter 6, on the other hand, some of the best. Like I've very rarely had a laggy match of Street Fighter 6. Netcode is really a matter of how well you handle the bad connections and whether you can take a bad connection and make it feel like it's still a playable match. So yeah, I think it's too early to say for me how the netcode is of Tekken 8. I also didn't review this, by the way. Ronnie did our review at IGN. He's better than me at Tekken, I'll admit it. But yeah, I've still been playing it a whole bunch and having a really good time with it.
Yeah. Who are you gravitating to? And then with something like this, like, because you're kind of similar to me, where like not like a big Tekken player in the past.
Yeah.
Like, how do you sort of figure out like who you want to gravitate to and invest in?
For me, it's a combination of like how the character looks, like the vibe the character gives off, and also like does it mesh with my style of play. And right now, I'm really enjoying Azucena, the new coffee girl.
Yes.
I just think she's
Peru.
she's real fun.
She is fun, fast.
She's what?
Super fast.
Yeah, she's super fast. She's got like some cool stance things that she can do.
Yeah, that's something I've been learning with Victor. Is like, okay, you like go into like
Yeah,
that back
stances-
stance and then
stances
pull
are
out
big.
the sword. Yeah.
As you
Stances
say,
are
it's so
big.
fun, right? Because she's MMA, so she has
Yeah.
a lot of cool little like stand up, but she also has a whole bunch of rad grappling kind of ground techniques. So
Yeah, she's got like
fun.
takedowns. She's got arm bars.
One of the
she's
new
got,
characters. Yeah.
She's got like a flying leg lock, which I really enjoy. So yeah, I'm really enjoying her. I haven't really explored the roster all that much. I'm always going to be a big King fan just because I love pro wrestling.
Yes.
So yeah, so those are the two that I'm going with right now, but I definitely want to explore the roster a little bit more.
Don, did you have any?
It's funny because I was immediately attracted out of the new characters to Azucena, so that's who I got into at first. I was playing her quite a bit. But then after that, because I actually jumped on the story, I was like way more interested in arcade mode, so I've been playing most of that. But because it forces you to play as Jin for the most part in the story, I actually got quite a bit into Jin. So right now I have been playing, and in the past I was never really into Jin. For my Tekken history, I was like really into the early ones, but I fell off after Tag or whatever and like casually played, 5, 6, 7. And so it feels good to be jumping back on here. But Jin was like never a character in the past that I really was attracted to. So it's funny because this is the most I've played him out of any of them, but I've been enjoying it quite a bit.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I said, like right now so far, like in the practice mode, I've like messed around the most with like Raven and Victor.
Oh yeah, you were getting good with Raven, huh?
Yeah. Raven's got all the
Ninjas.
crazy Naruto Shadow Clone stuff going on. And similar, it's like I don't know if I would necessarily consider it a stance, but you kind of like do this thing where he like goes down for like a second, and then you follow up, and then those are like different Shadow Clone moves.
So cool.
And then Victor is just like, he's just got like a freaking
so
arsenal
cool.
on him. He's
Yeah,
got these
he is
little
cool.
knives that'll stab you, and like, you can just like combo with like, I think it's like right punch, like triangle. Just like triangle, and there's like a big old combo, right? Just a math triangle. But he's got a freaking pistol that he pulls out. He, like I said, he does that
Shoots it
thing
like
with a
John Wick
sword.
style, like very close to him.
Does some great stuff with the sword, like a nice full set of moves that you can do with that.
Yeah.
And then during another one that kind of popped out to me while I was going through the story mode was Shaheen. So when I go back to him and mess around with him a little bit more too. Damiani, you've been a little quiet over there. Sorry, I got you in edgewise.
Sorry,
Do you have any thoughts for Tekken?
Sorry, I haven't touched it. I was curious about. Only thing I was curious about is just the approach that it has to both like the casual level players, mid-core level players, hardcore. How does it do a good job of bringing in people at those levels? And I kind of always viewed Tekken as one of those like kind of like higher barrier to entry because it's fun to button mash, but to get anywhere, it feels like it might be a little bit more to get into. So you've kind of like Mitch and you guys have already kind of like answered all the questions pretty much for that. So I feel like I've someone on the outside looking in. I feel like you guys did a pretty good job of explaining all that and why this one is getting the good reviews that it has. Although I did see a tweet from Harada that they're experiencing online errors in matchmaking and spectating right now due to very heavy stress on the servers, trying to say it's popular. But yeah, this always comes for this game, especially with Bandai Namco's history with online games. It just comes back to netcode, and Mitch did a great job explaining. Like it's not the words rollback itself. Sorry, isn't just necessarily mean it's good. Like it has to actually be well implemented and not just be rollback netcode. So I think even saying those magic words, people were like, "Is it really going to work well this time, or are you just saying these words to make like appease us, and it's going to be the same story again?" And obviously, we'll see when as more people are piling in to play it, how that goes down.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm glad you said Street Fighter 6 had a nice smooth launch, but it's hard for me because I feel like this is sort of the story of most games. It's like they get that flood, and it's like no matter how hard you try, like they're just not prepared for people to be up there playing online.
Well, what I think Street Fighter 6 did so well was they had I think it was an open beta like the week before the game came out. And so they it was a huge stress
Tekken
test.
didn't have anything like that.
No, definitely
they had
not.
some earlier betas. Yeah, like a month or so ago.
Yeah, they Street Fighter 6 had an open beta while reviewers had keys, which was kind of like their way to test the online while in the review process. And I like made a tweet about it. Like that was the best experience as a fighting game reviewer that I've ever had like with a fighting game, because I was able to test out how the online would work in a environment that would be similar to what it would be at launch. And I would love to see more fighting games do that.
Yeah. Nice. All right, let's get into one of the biggest, craziest things that has happened this week, and it's been a crazy week. Palworld came out in early access. We saw this a while back. We've seen it a couple of times. I guess it's been in production since like 2021, something like that, when it first got showed off.
Crazy.
Basically billed as Pokemon with guns, but there's like all kinds of different variables to this story. I don't know if one story even covers it. First of all, the Pokemon with guns is a little bit of a weirdness because we'll get into your impressions later, Huber, but it doesn't play like Pokemon at all. Right?
No.
Like it is like an arc kind of game. They even kind of described it as being similar to Sons of the Forest.
That's funny.
Interesting comparison. But with these autonomous creatures helping you out, which the CEO described as automation with emotion. But yeah, like helping out with your base and stuff like that. But reasons why this thing has gone so crazy. One, so far, which this is probably already outdated by the time we're talking about this, 8 million copies in less than a week.
That is nuts.
Out of nowhere. It was
That
just
is
like
so nuts.
hour by hour going, they would just add another million. It was just
Yeah.
crazy those first couple of days, especially.
Are those sales
Yeah,
or
Steam.
Game Pass?
And
is
it's on
not?
Game Pass too.
Yeah.
So
That'll come in handy when Nintendo sues them for all they're worth.
Spider-Man 2 took 11 days to hit 5 million
It's wild.
for comparison, and that was like a big deal. It was like one of the fastest selling PlayStation games ever.
Yeah.
2 million concurrent players, making it one of the highest ever concurrents
Yeah.
for a paid game on Steam.
Well, Pokemon is just so much bigger than even the MCU, so
Yeah.
I mean, those numbers make sense if you think about it like that, I guess.
Yeah. But then it's like, yeah, we get into all these controversies and concerns, but we'll kind of escalate them. First of all, it's like this company has done the early access several times with their past games, and so like there's still games that they have in early access now, and now they're launching this one as well.
Yeah.
Which they said they've taken a lot of lessons from that, and they do think that like it's something about like this style of game, like benefits more. Like they wouldn't want to do like a full-fledged RPG early access, but because this is something that relies a lot on player feedback and how
Yeah.
people are interacting and stuff.
That makes sense.
Yeah. They're saying they even had they were originally going to publish it like later last year, but they're like, it's not quite ready yet, even for early access. Like they wanted to get some of the worst bugs and stuff dealt with first. Yeah, it's about 60% complete, I think they said. And then he said, and this is from an interview that CEO did with Automaton. I said, when we released Craftopia in early access, we really didn't know anything, including of what kind of game it even was supposed to be.
That's not a good thing to admit.
Yeah.
But with Palworld, we know what we're making. So.
I mean, here's the thing. I think Palworld's success shows how hungry the Pokemon fan base is for the next level of the monster catching genre. I think they were really hoping that Arceus would be that. It seems like it wasn't. I don't really know. I've kind of fallen off of Pokemon. But they are hungry for that next gen Pokemon experience. And just looking at Palworld, I don't think it's it, but it's doing something in that space that's new and like seems to be functional. Like, it seems to have a steady frame rate. It seems like, they're obviously having server woes because of the popularity, but like when things are working, it seems like it's working pretty smooth.
Yeah.
And I wish it was a different game.
Right.
Because I'm super not into like survival style games.
Right.
The game obviously looks super derivative in its art design. Like the environment design is super plain and basic. It feels like it doesn't have a personality to me, which is why I'm not super into it. But man, you can't argue with the sales numbers.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect
This game is
storm.
huge.
It's definitely a perfect storm. It's like multiple reasons this thing has blown up. Obviously, the monster catching, like you were saying, like people just love that. Pokemon has been like taking a dip in terms of like player patience,
Feedback.
I guess. Yeah. They just want
Like they're playing it, but they are not all on board. Yeah.
more complaints than ever, I would say, with Pokemon. Crafting games on Steam, like survival crafting games on Steam are like usually pretty big. Like so many people get in their groups and play these things together.
Yeah, that's the big key. It's a real social experience
big time
for a
social.
lot of people.
Yeah, and the meme worthiness of it as well. Like the creatures and everything. I'll go into it with my impressions, but it's like
Yeah.
I mean the game is actually pretty fun. I was having an okay time with it. It's pretty fun. It's pretty addicting. The UI is really solid. Like so many crafting survival games are just like there's a lot to learn and there's a lot to manage and there can be like a lot of menus, a lot of text, and this thing is like really clean, really simple to get an understanding of like what you need to do. So the onboarding is really inviting.
Yeah. What was interesting with that was, Dinga Bakaba from Arcane, he had a whole thread that people were passing around this weekend, talking about like he had jumped in and was playing with his friends and like he was actually really impressed with like how well like all of these kind of like, you know, seemingly disparate systems kind of mesh together.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and get people in that ordinarily, you know, might have a hard time, you know, like sinking into that kind of game. He said like after a couple of hours, him and his friends were just like, they were all just into it.
Yeah. There was definitely a moment when I was like, oh, this is why this game's huge. Because like I came up to this little sheep creature, which is like the earliest thing. I was like, this thing is adorable. And then you just start like bashing it with like a hammer or like a club. So I'm like, all right, this is kind of intense. And then you capture it. And then when I captured it, like you can use it as like a freaking shield, like a human shield vibes. And when you're holding it out, it's like crying.
Jeez.
And I'm like, okay, I'm starting to like get the vibes.
Yeah,
of,
it's full on weird
this.
meme factor. Yeah.
Big time.
And that's one thing that I will say I kind of do appreciate about Palworld is that it does not shy away from how dark like the general concept of Pokemon is.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't sugarcoat, you know, the nature of basically enslaving these creatures for your own benefit.
For sure. Then I just wanted to see like what it was like attacking an NPC or whatever. So there's like an NPC out in the very beginning. So I like attack the NPC, and then it's like you get a wanted level, like GTA vibes, and all of a sudden these like special forces people come and start shooting, which was actually like pretty janky, that part of it.
Sure.
Just like the gun combat seemed a little janky, and they're kind of just like standing there, and then they'll shoot you, and it's like that was really low budget. But I mean, I guess it encourages you to like mostly play by the rules.
Right. Yeah, some of the other things that came up. There's this weird back and forth that happened with people accusing the models of being made with AI, which is not really any evidence that happened. But there was, you know, the CEO had like said a lot of supportive things about AI, but so is Square Enix's CEO recently, right? You know, they're doing that too, you know, with Foam Stars.
Yeah.
There was a game they did called AI Art Imposter where they actually used generative AI as a like game mechanic.
Whoa.
Which is pretty intense. But so far it doesn't look like there's any real evidence that AI was used in Palworld, and like Steam has this thing now where like you have to disclose.
And there's also talk of like, you know, this game has been in development for a good while.
Yeah.
And I don't think AI generative tools have been
Yeah, that makes sense.
openly available for that long.
For something that complex as
yeah.
a character model, probably, yeah.
So like that's probably the most compelling evidence against it for me. But still, it doesn't stop the fact that, you know, there's
It's freaking me out.
There's
freaking
Yeah.
Eevee.
There's
like,
a Pokemon that if you just looked at the silhouette, you'd be like, oh, that's Lucario.
Yeah.
Like if it was
100%. I was like, oh, I'm building a Lucario statue now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, and that is the main big
Yeah.
discourse is that these things look way too similar
Yeah.
And-
to actual Pokemon to the point that people are like comparing models and they're like, you know, there are animation experts and stuff that are like, yeah, I don't see how you could get this close without copying it in one way or another. Well, you imported the model or you just traced it or something. Like,
Yeah.
how else do you get these proportions like that exact? People are like looking at like Sobble's fin and stuff. And it's like the model looks different, but like it still looks the same. You know,
Yeah.
it's like what's happening there.
And that was kind of one of the things that also turned me off from the game because when the first Palworld trailer came out, I looked at, you know, their previous games. I looked at Craftopia. Craftopia is, you know, a shameless Breath of the Wild kind of knockoff.
Right.
There's an enemy you fight in that game that looks just like a bokoblin. And it's like it doesn't even try. It actually like uses the fact that it looks so close to garner attention. And I'm just like not about that
Yeah.
style of marketing. So like I was turned off from Palworld. Like
They even
right
name
from the
dropped
get-go.
that too with Palworld. They were like, yeah, it's a lot like Breath of the Wild. Like throwing that out there.
I was so turned off from this game like right from the get go, and like it actually makes me upset that it's so popular.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that was the thing too. It's like just, you know, like there is that sense of like, okay, this is, you know, kind of playing into that thing of like, oh, Pokemon is sort of messed up. You know, it's like they make it nice, but it's like, what if you like leaned into how messed up it is? But it's like even from that, the first trailers, it was just like, I'm not comfortable with this. You know, blasting and shooting and all of that stuff.
Yeah. It also encourages you when you start to like play for a while because it's like going through the tutorial and it'll like be pretty slow. It had like mobile vibes of just like, oh, like
Sure.
one more little thing here. Oh, I gotta make sure I craft that so this pops or whatever. But fairly early on, it's like, all right, go capture like 30 of these things. It's like, whoa, okay, this is still the tutorial. Like, I'm gonna go on, because like even crafting the Pokeballs is like, you gotta like have enough resources for that and like travel back to your base. So it's like,
Right.
in the beginning, it's like pretty hard to put down for sure. I was like pretty hooked. I'm like, why am I doing this though? It's just numbers. It's just like numbers.
Watching the numbers go up.
Yeah, the number, like this full lizard brain vibe of like, dude, the numbers going up. But like they got me. They got me with the numbers. The numbers kept going up, and I kept getting like new recipes, new gear. Things were going off. I started to build my little house, put my bed in there.
Yeah.
I got all my like critters outside in their little beds, which is like really cute and adorable.
Well, and they were talking too, like you do kind of have to manage like their moods, right? Or like,
Well, I got back in one of them.
Like a fire pal can like burn your whole place down if it gets upset.
I got back and one of them stepped into my campfire and was just like on fire when I got back, just like flaming. I was like, okay, what is going on here? Yeah.
Damian, before I get into some of this other stuff, any like top of the line thoughts on this craziness?
I mean, yeah, I have zero interest in this game. Like, it looks like a knockoff from the beginning, and like I'm already like losing interest in Pokemon in general as time has gone on. The series has fallen off. I think the most important things to take away from this, if you sift through all this shit about like the accusations going back and forth, that's very irrelevant to me. How much demand there is for a Pokemon like game on other platforms, specifically on PC, and how much money the Pokemon company is leaving on the table by being an exclusive series to Nintendo and Switch. And if they ever wanted to see about increasing that revenue, they're in maybe not going multi-platform on competitors, but going on PC. Man, like the voices for that are only gonna get louder, as ridiculous as that might seem. And two, like the quality fidelity that the Switch is it's not just even the Switch. Like that's like a culprit that people keep pointing to. It's the development cycle for Pokemon. Like they need to take their time. They need to slow down. They need to rethink some of the conventions. It shows that they can take risks. They don't need to be playing it so safe. Obviously, with Arceus, obviously with Scarlet and Violet, they started to take some risks, but they're like it's so surface level that they're so behind. Even from a quality of life standpoint, they just have basic things that are missing that should be there, and they've been pointed out numerous times by like feedback and reviews, and they still refuse to adjust or add those types of features. And honestly, maybe this is something like this is what it takes. Something like Nintendo and I'm sure assume the Pokemon company don't like it when someone's stealing their thunder, and like they like being like the dominant ones in this. So even if I don't think this is going to result in any real like legal action, like people that this is just like that's the distraction. I think the real thing to take away is that I hope this lights a fire under their ass to maybe for the Switch successor hardware to like. Your next mainline Pokemon on Switch 2, I mean, there's going to be a cross-gen one, but whatever is after that needs to come out swinging, man. Like, I know they sell well, but, like, just selling well, like, someone is always out there who's going to be better than you and wants to be bigger than you. And, like, it might not happen for, like, years or decades, but someone will come after you eventually. And, like, this might be it for this. And, like, I hope it leads to the Pokemon series, innovating and becoming better down the line. Because despite what they've been doing in the last few entries, like it's still so far behind.
But Damiani, there's something there about what you're saying about Pokemon-like games that is really, really interesting to me about this, is that there are quite a few Pokemon-like games that have come out recently. People have pointed out.
What was that one we played with Jones?
Cassette Beast. We've talked about Temtem.
Well,
Temtem.
Yeah.
That was it.
Like, obviously you've got Digimon and stuff out there. And it's like, this game isn't even like Pokemon.
Seriously.
And it's not like it has more of a marketing budget than those other games, because nobody knew this was coming out. It just came out and exploded.
Did
So
like an influencer stream it? Is that how
it just really feels like it's riding on them looking like Pokemon. Like
okay, so yes,
Pokemon.
that's the relevant part to when we get to like why they look the same. It is hard to make good designs for creatures. And honestly, like before Pokemon, there were other games that like struggled to do this. And obviously, influence, inspiration versus where do you cross the line into like, you're not just taking inspiration and influence, you are outright just ripping off stuff. I mean, it like
I thought it was weird,
like,
Damiani. They said they got inspired by Dragon Quest. I'm like, I'm not really seeing any Dragon Quest.
Right.
Well,
Dragon
people
Quest
are putting
Monsters
those
just
side
came
by
out. Nobody was talking about that.
Well, yeah, people are putting the side by side images of like Dragon Quest, classic Dragon Quest monsters next to Pokemon, and saying like,
Yeah, that was a
look
little
how
funny,
Pokemon took influence from Dragon Quest and so on. But that's the thing. I think sift through all that chaos and that discourse. It's like they look good. It's hard to make things that look good and are appealing. That's why these are the best at it. And these other ones you mentioned, Blood, those designs, they don't have great creature designs in some of those games you listed. I think it's a very big weakness. And you can have like the best gameplay systems, but people at the end of the day also are drawn to these games because they like how those Pokemon, the creatures, look. And they have to like look, appealing and have good designs. And the best in the biz are like, already working at those companies. So it's hard to, get that talent and to create that many of them. Like you maybe can create a handful, but then people are like, where are the rest? And like, that's, it's not as easy as people think, obviously, despite, what some fans might, constantly complaining about lack of certain Pokemon appearing in different generations and stuff. It's like, yeah, I mean, sure, it'd be nice to have all of them, but I mean, making new ones is not that easy, or else you'd see more games doing it and being successful. So I think in this specific case, yes, Palworld, is benefiting a bit from the likenesses of their creatures looking
100%.
so similar to Pokemon. Yes.
Yeah.
Multiple factors for why this game is huge. It's not, you can't just say it's one thing. It's the perfect storm. You don't get 8 million that quickly with, it's just Pokemon with guns. It's like, no, there's a lot of factors here going on.
Timing is definitely a big part of it.
Yep.
Getting into some of the legal stuff, at least as far as we can talk about, as far as we know, layman over here. It's like they can't just be superficially similar to be proven as infringement. IP lawyer Haley McLean over at MinMax had like a little bonus podcast about this the other day, and she said that like these cases, like they have like a 4-factor test to determine infringement and stuff like that, and in a lot of these cases, like it actually can just come down like to the individual judge. It's like if you convince the judge that this is a copy, this is infringing, but like. Again, it's like if you could prove that they somehow used the models and then they just tweaked the models that Nintendo had, then like that could be a whole other situation, right?
That'd be wild.
Yeah.
Here we go. It's going to be the next Activision Blizzard story. Blood. They're going to be checking
I don't know,
this
though.
every month.
So in that interview, the CEO had said that they have undergone legal reviews, and at this moment, there's no specific actions taken by any other company. I know there have been all kinds of rumors floating about on the internet, but please rest assured and give our game a chance. And then last night, Pokemon Company put out this statement. Inquiries regarding other companies' games. We have received many inquiries regarding another company's game released in January 2024. They don't even name it.
Yeah.
It's not worth our
It's just
breath.
another company's game. Everyone knows what we're talking about, so we don't need to name it. We have not granted any permission for the use of Pokemon intellectual property or assets in that game. We intend to investigate and take appropriate measures to address any acts that infringe on intellectual property rights related to the Pokemon. That's specifically to the Pokemon, as if they're individual little creatures, for real.
I'd be scared.
We will continue to cherish and nurture each and every Pokemon and its world, and work to bring the world together through Pokemon in the future.
So intense.
When I saw, I think it was the, hi Damiani. When I saw, I think it was the IGN headline that said, Pokemon Company says we intend to investigate. I literally heard like horror stab music in my brain. It was like, dun, dun, dun.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like, Nintendo is one of the most litigious companies out there. If there is a way for them to sue,
They're coming.
they're gonna make it happen.
Oh, for sure.
If there's not, then I don't think there's anything that anyone could have ever have done.
Yeah. Well, I watched Kit and Krista's thing on this today too, and like they're saying like just from what they know in the past, not that they've heard anything specifically about this case, it's like, oh yeah, the Pokemon Company is fuming right now.
Oh,
like,
sure.
More than Nintendo, the Pokemon Company are the ones that are upset. But you would there's that modder that like put actual Pokemon into Palworld.
Oh, yeah.
Palworld for a hot minute. They were
Instantly
gone.
shut down.
Just gone.
That's easy.
Wiped off the face of the earth.
Nuked from orbit.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm
those
like,
are
this
always
thing
the
has
same
been-
dunks.
Yeah, this thing has been sitting around for 3 years, and the Pokemon Company hasn't acted yet. It makes me wonder, like,
Resting on their laurels. They didn't think it was a threat.
maybe?
It's not.
And it's a different genre. And it's it really is a different genre. It's just the creatures.
Damiani.
Maybe the mod because that happened, they want to just take a closer look now, just to like make sure. Because as I said, like the slam dunk for them is when you like any assets, like asset ripping, code ripping, anything. We saw why Portal 64 had to be delisted. It was like there was no choice. They were using N64 libraries. You can't do that. So
Right.
like Valve, Steve couldn't do that. Couldn't keep it up. So yes, that's something they'll probably get to look into. They'll probably want to like have their lawyers look over that, because there might even be a design just like this, anything in there that is like too similar or like looks identically, or like an asset that was taken from one of their things. They're going to be all over that. But I also think it's just like due diligence. I mean, it's gone so big. I think people and like some higher ups are probably like they've known about this game for a while, but I think its success now has caught the attention of too many people at the Pokemon Company, and they're like telling their lawyers like, look into this, because yes, you are right. Sadly, the harsh reality for a lot of this is Pokemon Company and Nintendo specifically do try to see how far they can push the legal boundaries with their IP and their rights. We see this constantly with emulators and emulation with Nintendo, despite, emulation being ruled legal, but, the legality of ROMs and stuff, not quite as,
rentals
black
back in
and
the
white.
day.
Yeah. They still constantly go
after
after
YouTubers. Yeah.
Yeah, they still go after like emulation videos and videos about making Switch emulators. Like they are constantly going after that stuff because they don't care if there was already a ruling on past stuff. They want the minds change. That a judge's mind, as you said, it depends on judges sometimes. Which judge you get, what area of the country, which judge is making that decision. It's like, yeah, they will keep pushing that and keep trying that to see what they can get back, right wise. And so this might be one of the things where their lawyers are just looking at the Pokemon Company. It's like, we might be able to push on something here. And even if they aren't doing it, this is good for us for now and for the future, because it gives us it gives us more power over, things that are Pokemon like going down the road, which is not the greatest thing. I personally, I'm don't like when that happens, but they're also just doing what, they're just playing the game that's in front of them.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, the way this statement reads is kind of like, we know, stop emailing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like so many people were fishing for a response, or they finally decided to say something. It's like, yeah, this is what we've been doing all along, what we do every day, kind of thing.
It's funny because part of me wants to say they obviously have the gall, but would you be so stupid if you weren't covering your ass, right? Because this is so obviously inspired by Pokemon that you wouldn't be so stupid as to put in a single asset from actual Pokemon, right? Because they would nuke you.
Yes,
know?
but also it feels like a lot of the stories that have come out from the CEO, this team has really been cobbled together. He talked about finding the guy to do the guns at a convenience store, and it's
All right, never mind.
It's really a solid,
Slapdash.
aside from the weirdness and the controversial parts of it, the way that this team has been put together is just such an indie story. It's just kind of wild.
I guess Ants and Bugs Life exist. Deep Impact exists.
Yeah.
It's possible to do something similar.
So I think there may be some of this that it's not necessarily malicious. It's we're not trying to steal a thing. It's just there's a little bit of maybe naivete about it, and yeah, but at the same time, it's like I said, would this game have been what it is if the pals did not look anything like Pokemon.
I saw someone compare this, or at least bring up Vampire Survivors and how it uses like identical assets from Castlevania. So, like what is the difference kind of between this and that?
They had to change out their stuff though. Eventually, like the stuff they were using initially, I thought they all swapped that out, and now it's the stuff that like looks similar, but it's not. They were like literally using actual assets from other stuff, and then they had to take them out and change them. So anything in there now like looks similar. Like the things that look like the skeleton dragon head shooting fireballs. Like they're so small on the screen they look identical, but when you zoom in, it's like they look different enough that's like that's not the actual asset anymore. It's like something a little different. But yeah, that's the thing. And now honestly, that's the thing. That's for like the lawyers and judges to figure out. It's like where's the line of two? Is that rip off? Is that inspiration, influence? Like that's always a case by case basis. So none of us can answer that question. We could say what we think, but at the end of the day, like someone sets the precedent. And it's like, who knows? Like coin flip. I don't know.
But with these kind of sales and with the Game Pass and everything, like how insane is this going to be if a judge did say that like this had to get shut down? Like what in the world? I mean, like massive refunds, I guess, but man, like
I don't know what they would do.
I don't know. I wouldn't fly that close to the sun.
Yeah.
That's my thing. Is like,
I mean, a lot
why
of people,
try? Like, why try? Like, I guess because it's been a huge success, and flying close to the sun, you get a great tan, but like.
Never underestimate people's laziness. Like if it shuts down and they bank like 30 or 40% of the people don't get a refund, you're still raking in millions,
Yeah.
Oh, you think they might take the money and run?
I mean, if the thermonuclear option of this game having to shut down and issue refunds, I just don't think everyone would take the time to get a refund. It's like subscriptions for like Netflix and stuff. People not like turning off their subs or whatever. It's like just whatever.
I wonder if they have like a bunch of backup creatures somewhere.
Maybe they're doing it
when
now.
Nintendo comes,
they've got the resources now.
Swap them. Swap them
they got
out.
a panic button.
That's when they activate the AI. That's when they hit the AI button. That's when they activate it. That was the backup all along. And by the way, was it for All Mankind, the character Dev, flying too close to the sun? It wasn't that. The lesson learned is you shouldn't fly too close to the sun. It's build better wings. Icarus should have had better wings.
Exactly.
I thought it was find a better way to get a tan.
Yeah.
But
I will say it's annoying hearing about this game like nonstop. It's just like nonstop. But like when I played it, actually, I was like, it's not bad.
Yeah.
not
Well, I
that
mean,
game.
no, that is definitely a factor. Like people are losing their minds one way or the other over this game online on social media. But yeah, anything else? Because you've given us some of your impressions. Anything else you want to say about just jumping in there? You played like 2 or 3 hours?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, if you're into survival games and you have some buddies that are into it, and
Definitely a buddy game.
definitely a buddy game. It's already feeling pretty lonely. I'm alone in there, so yeah. I think I actually took a picture of my code. You can put it in chat if you want to join my island. Join my island right now. There's only like 20 spots available. HK5EEJ. There it is.
He had that locked and loaded, ready to go.
Join in. Populate my island.
Nice.
Hop in, chat.
But I wonder how long, it'll be funny to see how long the Zeitgeist
Yeah.
lasts.
Yeah. I'm
You know?
curious how much those hooks will stick in people.
Because the first objective is really clear, and I can see like wanting to get there. It's like, level up quite a bit and then go fight like this syndicate leader far away. So it's like that first big objective seems like it's
Yeah. And I think
a
that might
good
be
hook.
I think that might be part of like what you're saying about Perfect Storm though too.
Yeah.
Like when you have a game that you play with your buddies, it's like that snowball of like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm playing this. I want somebody to play with.
That's why I
convince
play-
them to spend. How much is it? Like
$27.
27? Yeah, 'cause it's on sale temporarily
So it's
and
like
then-
$30 normally.
Yeah. And then they get a couple of their friends into it, and then then they want to play when that guy's offline, and so they get a couple of their friends. And
That's why I
little
play
snowball.
so much Fortnite, and
Yeah.
I only play COD like on every couple years because that's when my friends get it, and it's like that. The power of that is so strong. So
Yeah. All right.
And just the curiosity of the curiosity of everyone, right?
Yeah.
Everyone is just like, oh, I gotta hop in to see what this is all about. Like, yeah, there's so many
once something gets
perfect
so
storm
big,
factors.
you get sales just because people want to know why it's so big.
Exactly.
The Game Pass element of it is also pretty huge.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's no barrier for people who already have Games Pass for, you know, if my buddy has Game Pass, I can just be like, hey, you want to jump into this game? It's free. You got Game Pass.
Yeah.
They'll jump in.
Yep. Okay, Huber. Suicide Squad put out their final insider video going over the post-launch plans. You can go ahead and roll this thing. This goes forever. It's 11 minutes long here.
Why is the Arkham series now part of a fucking multiverse?
We'll get there.
Irreparable damage to the brand now. Just multiverse bullshit. Here we go. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So
God.
basically, this is they said this so many times. They wanted to hammer this thing home. Totally new content at no cost.
For sure, which is awesome.
Yeah. So they're saying
I'm gonna be open-minded for this game, and I'm gonna try so freaking hard. I'm going to actively try my hardest to enjoy it.
Yeah. So yeah, the when you finish the story, then they're gonna start.
That bothers me.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
At the top here, like this game's not even out. I
Right.
just hate this. I hate that we're just in the spot with this game where it's like post-game content launch, like already. Like the game isn't even out. Like let the game come out and speak for itself and be like, yo, post stuff's coming. Give people like a week or two and then start this train. I don't know. That just bothers me.
Right. Yeah, but I guess that's the thing is like they're really desperate to get people into this game right now with all the bad taste in everyone's mouths.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, so they're saying once you finish the story, then, you know, a couple weeks later, they're going to start rolling out these
It just
episodes.
already makes the main storyline feel inconsequential and meaningless.
Yeah.
It already has lost stakes. The stakes are already down the gutter. When you're like, okay, so after, you know, you defeat Brainiac, basically, like, all right, once Brainiac's done, like, now you can start getting into all this multiverse shit that doesn't matter. God.
Before they even got into the content of those episodes, so they talked about like a lot of this other social play, which is you're probably not going to like either. Talking about like getting emotes and outfits. They said they're bringing Rocksteady's approach to social gameplay with competition among the squad. The best player becomes squad leader for the next mission.
I actually
I'm a
like
fan
it.
of that too.
I like it.
I'm not sure what that means, though. What does that mean?
You get to choose the mission for the group.
Okay.
So when you're all on the open world, like you get to activate the next mission. And they were talking about too, when you hop in, sometimes if someone beats your score, it'll be like their character like flipping you off and stuff,
Yeah.
which is like sounds childish, but it's actually like kind of funny. And
Not as much of a fan of that.
I'm not a fan of that.
there's some like
That whole clip was like, okay,
That seems obnoxious.
turn on your Suicide Squad, and then Boomerang's
get
flipping you off.
bombarded. Yeah. It reminds me of Super Mario 3D World though. That uneasy alliance. You know, going for that crown. Like you're in this together, but
Yeah.
also like
Cooperative, but competitive.
yeah. I like that. I like that.
I'm a fan of that too.
They do have leaderboards. They said separate leaderboards for each, like, however many players you have. So there's a solo leaderboard up to 4-player leaderboard. One thing I actually liked, you get to use other players' gear on your AI teammates. So if you're playing solo, but your buddy crafted some crazy weapon or whatever, like, you can have your buddy's weapons and equip
Use
them
my
to them.
stuff, chat. Use my stuff.
They get, and that person gets rewards for how many people are using them.
Okay.
So I'm curious how, like, is
Can
there
I-
like some
can I
kind of
give
place
it
to
out for free,
browse? I wonder.
I don't need the rewards. Just use my stuff.
That's like pawns. Yeah, I was gonna say chat beat me to it, but that's like pawns in Dragon's Dogma.
Yeah. Another thing too is like, okay, this is the Suicide Squad going on some like suicidal mission to take out the Justice League. Like, oh, who's gonna die? And it's like, you think they're really gonna kill any of these characters? Like, what
I've
if
never
you,
been convinced. Yeah.
What if you
Maybe one.
What if you play this game and you're Deadshot? He's your guy, and you play for like, you know, however long, 20, 30 hours, whatever, and then like Deadshot's the only one to die, or like Harley is the only one to die, and that's your character. Like, there's no way.
Oh, there's no way any of them are gonna die.
There's no way.
What if they kill whichever character you use the least? Like they have a different version for all of them.
That's funny.
I just love
That'd
this
be
thought.
cool. Yeah, then the multiverse version could come. Or
Yeah.
I just love this thought of like you're all playing a 4-player cooperative game.
Yeah.
You watch a cutscene, one of the character dies.
Yeah.
And then just
They get
on that
booted.
person's screen, they just get like a black screen that says, "Sorry, you chose Deadshot."
Yeah. Later.
Bad news.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really can't.
Exactly.
They can't die. They can't be taken away for a long period
There's just
of time.
no stakes
Yeah.
to this. Like, it's crazy. And like killing the Suicide Squad or killing the Justice League now too. It's like, okay, kill the Flash and then just another Flash from another multiverse or whatever universe is going to come.
Could be, yeah.
It's like, okay, cool.
Which I guess is
Not-
how you have replayability in like the end game.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Which makes sense for like the game-ness of it. But it's just not exciting.
Yeah.
I will say these costumes look really cool. Like
Yeah, it's
one
cool.
one of
That's
the big things about live service games is that your cosmetics
Essential.
have to be on
Yeah.
point.
The freaking Batman skins in the Arkham games were
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, and I do think that that element is something that Rocksteady is nailing with this game.
Yeah.
I want those skins.
I need that
Like,
classic Harley skin.
Yeah, and
ASAP.
there seems to be like cool animations. Also, there's like different effects that happen. So, like, I don't know. I feel like the world is pulling me one way, but I'm still fighting against the current and be
Same.
like, I still want to hold on to hope that this game is going to be good. It doesn't have to be amazing. It doesn't have to be game of the year. I just
Yeah.
want it to be baseline good.
Same, yeah,
And
at
like
this point,
stick
yeah.
around and not be one of those live service games that just has 6 months and then is just something that history books will look back on
Yeah.
Right.
as another failed live service game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted more, like, I just wanted more than okay, but now I just need to accept that, Because, like, Avengers was exciting at first,
Right.
and then it was, like, at the end of the day, like, I liked it, but it was just fine. And it's like, yo, we're talking about the Avengers. We're talking about the freaking Justice League from, like, a really talented studio that nailed Batman, like, superheroes. So,
Yeah.
like, I'm bummed that I'm hoping for fine and okay.
I mean,
Yeah, so-
at this point, I'm hoping for at least Avengers level. I
Yeah.
don't want it to be worse than Avengers.
Yeah, I think I think it could be better.
I think it'd be better
Especially
than
the story and
Avengers.
stuff.
Yeah,
like,
well, here's the thing. Like, Avengers, if you take away the live service elements of Avengers, that was a pretty solid single-player game.
I really liked it.
It was
I really
only
liked the
it was
campaign.
only when they put those multiplayer aspects into the single player mode that the game started to suffer.
Yeah.
But like the characters were great. The
Yeah.
combat I thought was really fun. I thought they did a really good job of making every character feel unique and true to their vision of that character. The thing about this game is I don't think you can do that with Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn doesn't have the kind of dedicated style of gameplay that
Yeah.
makes me feel like I am playing as Harley Quinn. Like
Totally.
just using a grappling hook and flying around shooting a assault rifle doesn't
They
make me
all
feel
look the
that great.
same, yeah.
Yeah, they
Like
all
they're
have.
all just using a different gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching Skillup's video, and he said something very similar. I think like that is kind of the key element of this. When you played Avengers, you felt like you were playing
Hulk
as
felt
Hulk.
big
You
and
felt
beefy
like
and
Hulk.
meaty.
If you're
Yeah.
playing as
Iron Man was cool because you'd fly around.
if you're playing as Killer Shark, I don't know if just having that move where you jump up real high and then slam down really makes you feel like you're playing as Killer Shark, or like the elements that make Killer Shark. But
Yeah.
we'll see. I'm willing to be convinced otherwise. I'm not. Again,
Same.
I'm not giving up hope on this. I actually think Elseworlds Joker looks really cool. He's
Looks
got like
really cool.
He looks
I
like
hate
Nick Cage to me.
I hate the idea and the context behind it with some multiverse shit. I'm over it. But the gameplay of him looked really fun. The
The
umbrella.
gameplay of him looks great.
he's like
It looks-
Psycho Mary Poppins.
I don't like his
Yeah.
character design,
Yes,
but I do
yes.
like his gameplay.
Looked cool.
But yeah, so the way these are gonna
And I'm
work,
excited for that Harley and that Joker banter. What's that going to be like?
yeah, that's gonna be weird. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But so every season there's gonna be 2 episodes, heavily themed by a DC villain. So it sounds like they're gonna be like Joker's just the first, and
Yeah.
then they're going to go full Rogues
Need
Gallery.
that Croc, dude. Need Killer
Yeah.
Croc.
Give me Clayface.
They also talk about there being like
Please.
different spins on the gameplay too. So it'd be interesting to see like how like fleshed out that is.
Seasons based on, I can already see it now, but I'm pessimistic here. It's gonna be like seasons based on like different elemental powers. Cool.
Right.
Like, oh, these enemies use shock, and you need to make sure you've got your shock armor up.
They
Yo,
talk-
I hate that.
I don't hate the texture on Joker's jacket.
Yeah, he looks cool.
looks
It looks
cool.
fun. He does look fun. I was like, all right.
They did say nothing behind a battle pass, which wasn't that the thing we talked about like this time last year or whatever. Like there was like a battle pass that got leaked, so it sounds like they killed that.
They killed the battle pass entirely.
They said there's nothing behind a battle pass.
Give me the
Nothing
pass, Lord.
nothing locked behind it, maybe because it's all free.
Maybe
that what they mean?
say
Yeah,
the
they-
in-game shop is for cosmetics only,
Yeah.
but nothing's locked behind a battle pass. So that would mean that you don't have to like grind it out, right?
I think it'll just be a free battle pass. Is
Yeah.
my thought.
And like I don't mind
That's
I
what I
don't
thought ahead
mind
of time.
the progression of a battle pass. I think
Sure.
it's cool to have that element of every time you level up you get something cool.
Definitely.
The problem of battle passes has always been you start to feel stress that you paid money for this thing, and
To
if you
miss
don't
out.
play it enough, you're not
Totally.
going to get
Yeah,
the
and
things
that's-
you paid for.
That's what they said, is that you'll be able to go back months later and experience all this stuff. Like you don't have to like get it on time.
Yeah.
Another thing they like repeatedly said was a player-friendly approach, quote unquote.
Totally. I
Yeah.
like this. That nothing goes away.
Yeah.
Come on back. Yeah. But like,
These
reason I'm
Elseworlds are
so-
apparently made by Brainiac, though, which is a crazy, weird thing. There's
that's
like,
a cool
experimenting
context
with people's
for,
DNA.
It's a cool context for the reason of a multiverse, I suppose. Like Brainiac is trying to like suck everyone's power and stuff and make his own like homeworld again, which is like cool, but I don't know. Just multiverses never, ever. I've never liked them. I never do, ever.
Yeah.
Even the best stories, like they just lose stakes for me.
What about Everything Everywhere All at Once?
I thought the movie was fine.
Oh, that was a great movie. Yeah. That
It was fine. It was good.
But
He
that
was a punk ass
fully,
bitch.
I just don't like multiverses.
that was a fully
Ah.
different reason to have a multiverse, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's why this stings so hard, because like Huber's saying, it's like the whole stakes of Joker being dead at this point. You're just like, yeah, no, don't worry about that. We got this other Joker.
Yeah.
He's not as experienced. He hasn't become a supervillain. He's more friendly, working with other people. It's
I
like-
guess it doesn't bother me that much because it's obviously a completely different Joker. It's not Mark Hamill Joker.
Yeah,
It's,
it doesn't
you know,
sound anything alike.
Definitely.
Not
It's-
even like trying to make an impression.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a completely different style of the character that just happens to have the same name. So I'm not that opposed to that, and I am kind of looking forward to like being able to revisit like the Arkham landscape in this new style of gameplay. So again, the current is taking me one way.
Yeah.
I'm digging my claws in the sand, trying not to get swept away. I still want to hold out hope for this game, and you know what? We'll find out soon.
Very soon.
Yeah. We've got more to come, but if you've been enjoying the show so far, please take a second to like and subscribe and ring that bell on YouTube. Leave a review on those podcast apps. It helps us and it helps you stay connected. And now, a word from our sponsors.
Selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing. However you cha-ching. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage to the first real-life store stage, all the way to did we just hit 1 million orders stage? Shopify's there to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell everywhere. From their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system, wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify has got you covered. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms. And sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. I love Shopify because no matter how big you want to grow, they've got you from every step of that journey. Everything you need to take the control and start small in your basement or Brandon Jones's garage, and all the way to your own company and your own business. across the world, Shopify's got you. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the United States, and Shopify's the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's award-winning help is there to support your success every step of the way. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/allies, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/allies now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. That's shopify.com/allies.
And if you are a patron of Easy Allies, thank you. All right. If you're confused, Damiani had scheduling things today, so he will be temporarily away, but he'll be back for bets and everything. But for now, Like a Dragon,
Dude.
Infinite Wealth is here. Both of you have played it. I don't have anything prepared. You guys, gush, go for it. What's going on with this game?
It is amazing. That is the first thing. It is. You probably are aware. This franchise, I've been feeling the
We don't need
fatigue.
headphones now either.
I've been feeling the franchise fatigue with Yakuza over the years because there's just been so many of them, and they're so similar in their presentation. The similar beats. All the way down to the side stories where it's like from goofy to really sentimental to violent. It's just like it was taking its toll on me. And especially after 6, it kind of felt like this natural end point. And then I liked 7, but I wasn't too hot on it, so I was like kind of dipping down. Infinite Wealth has brought me back all in. This game is so good. I think the Hawaiian setting, I really underestimated how much that was going to change the vibe and the tone because you're still doing a lot of the same stuff, but the way the characters are, like Ichiban and Kazuma are just like kind of fish out of water. I just really am enjoying the change of setting and the change of pace. And the change of pace especially too, because this is an epic and they go really in on like small scale stuff. I mean, there's whole big arcs where like you're not really getting into that many fights in the storyline, just obviously when you're running places and doing stuff, but like I'm just getting this Shenmue vibe of like doing mundane like day-to-day stuff. So yeah, I'm really enjoying my time with it.
I'm really enjoying it too. I think, and I really like the Yakuza series as a whole. I think it is a flawed series in a lot of ways, and I think one of the constants of the Yakuza series is that they are very bad at learning from kind of their mistakes. And I feel like this game absolutely learns from the mistakes of the previous game.
Dude, the freaking RPG mechanics in this are so good.
The combat is much better. It's much smoother. There's ways to like instantly end battles against weaker foes. I don't remember if that was in the previous game.
I don't think so.
But that's like a huge benefit to the game.
Yeah, that's actually one of my questions because it's like I know like a lot of people got fatigue out of that battle system with how long that last game was.
Yeah, and I think the best thing that it does is it gives you level recommendations every time you're about to go into a big fight.
Yeah.
And it eliminates the problem of having to grind up an absurd amount in order to meet those level gates.
Yeah.
At least so far that I've played, I'm on like chapter 10, and I've heard from our reviewer that he never experienced anything. Like chapter 12 of Like a Dragon was notorious.
Yeah.
There's no RPGs that I can think of where I remember the specific chapter, everything that happens in it, but I do, and not in a good way.
I was so nervous that in this right when I started and I got some like XP boosting gear. I was like, I gotta equip that right now.
Yeah.
I'll take the penalty to my stats. I need that.
Yeah, and like the result of that, it's a much more leisurely.
That's what I said.
Leisurely
leisurely pace
Oh, hey.
is my number one quote about this game.
We might be the same person, actually.
Yes.
But yeah, you're able to take it at a leisurely pace because you're not worried about constantly being underleveled for, whatever happens. The battles, while they're not super difficult, they're still engaging and fun because of the ways you're able to maneuver around the environment and pick your spots so that you knock an enemy into another enemy or knock an enemy into your ally and they, ping pong the enemy back and forth. It's just super satisfying. It's super rewarding and it feels good.
And for a really long time too, I love economies. I would money is tight early on. It takes a while to get to that spot where you have unlimited. A lot Yakuzas do that quite a bit. Later on, you can get so much, but also too the difficulty because sometimes I would go down just an alleyway, off the beaten path, and all of a sudden there's the purple enemies. Enemies are color coded, so if you see the blue ones, you can just you do a smackdown and then it kills them all basically in one hit. Yeah. But then sometimes you'll see purple enemies or the red enemies that have a crown on them, and if you beat those, it can unlock an area they're guarding where you can find more stuff
you can find a safe.
Yeah, and that's how I really like playing Yakuza. I was do all this side stuff, explore. So it's really fun for a long time early on, just getting in pretty hardcore fights. So I was dude, I'm I died a couple times that I was not expecting. So
and then they take a lot of your money.
They take a lot of your money. So I was I'm really into that. And then I assume the end game, every Yakuza will be then you got to grind for some of those tournament arcs and some other things that really make you grind for that optional stuff.
Yeah, and what I really like about this game is it's also not afraid of you being overleveled. There's no level requirements for gear. If you have the money, you can buy the most powerful weapon for your character right out of the gate. Yeah. Which I think is really refreshing. And you don't have to. You don't have to do that. And if you do that, you probably aren't going to have enough money to equip the rest of your party. So there's interesting decisions you have to make with your limited funds. There's stores all over the place that each have a different inventory that are kind of meant for different jobs. Yeah. And the job system in general is really, really satisfying.
So fun.
I love. Oh my God, the cutscenes that play before you get a job are so good. If you don't want to know about it, cover your ears. But there's a samurai job that you can get, and the way you get it is you basically go to this travel agency that signs you up for these activities that you can do around Hawaii, and one of them you go on a trolley ride, and you're watching these two kids fight with cardboard things, and you go by a sign that there's a shadow that makes it so that there's a samurai top knot on the guy's head, and Ichiban's just oh, that's it. And it goes into this funny compilation of Ichiban becoming a samurai. Yeah, and it's just so good. The way that they've woven jobs into this game in a way that's different from how they did in the previous game is just so smart.
Absolutely. I promise not to spoil any story stuff, but I do want to talk about just the vibes of it. I promise I won't spoil you. Do not worry. Just Kazuma being in your party as a supporting character is extremely refreshing. I mean, obviously he's driving a bunch of the plot, but it's still Ichiban's game. Ichiban's taking the lead, so just having Kazuma as a supporting character is incredible.
But how does that gameplay work? Because they talked about him being on his own battle system differently, or
not really.
Okay.
He's still on the turn-based battle system. Later on, there is a mechanic that's introduced where you do get to do the classic Yakuza style of free control, but it's only for a limited amount of time.
Got it.
It's a super move basically.
Yeah. But then having these new cast members also join in, so many great characters in this franchise, but right out of the gate, just character joining these two legends, So you have Ichiban and Kazuma and then this other character, and just the way that they are part of that crew. It's dude, you are with these two legends. So just the dynamics of the party is really, really fun and satisfying.
I really like the dynamic of Ichiban and Kiryu because I love our review done by Tristan. He like describes Ichiban like the best I've ever seen him be described. It's like Ichiban is like the human personification of a golden retriever.
Yeah, 100%. Just
Like,
a big puppy dog.
He's just like this big puppy dog who just always sees the good in people, always wants to do right by people.
Yeah.
And it's just he's such a comforting person to be around. And then you have Kiryu, who's also a really, really good person.
Yeah.
But he's good in a completely different way.
Totally.
And
he's punished.
Yeah,
he's
and
been through a lot.
punished. Yeah. And it's just a really, really interesting dynamic to have like both of these characters that I love so much. And, Kiryu's been a part of the Yakuza series for who knows how long at this point.
2005.
And it's kind of crazy how like Ichiban is the new kid on the block.
Yeah.
And even in moments where like I'm following Ichiban's story and not Kiryu's, like I'm not missing Kiryu.
Yeah.
And in the parts where I'm following Kiryu, I'm not missing Ichiban. It's a really impressive balance that they've managed to hit here of having these two really strong characters and not having the Snake and Raiden situation where
Totally.
like, oh God, I'm playing as Raiden. When do I get to play as Snake again?
Yeah, because Ichiban was awesome in the last one, but he was still a new character. Now it's familiar. You have that connection already if you went through 7, and and he's just so much more confident. The writing, everything about it, just
Are you playing English dub or
Japanese.
Japanese?
Yeah.
I actually think the English dub is really good. I think, shout out to Keiji Tang. He does such a phenomenal job
Awesome.
as Ichiban.
Yeah.
Just like the energy that he puts into this character. Well, like even when you're like doing karaoke and you're doing like the spirited, claps or whatever.
Oh my God.
And like
So good.
he's reacting to the lyrics of the song and like there's like a lyric that says like, and then I left you on the beach, and he's like, how dare you? It's so good. He's so unhinged in like the best possible way.
And just I said how like the Hawaiian setting is different. That goes like I just trying to like dance around everything. Basically, I just get like Foot Clan vibes from the gangs in this game now. Just the whole vibes are different because of what has happened in the previous games.
Right.
Some huge ramifications, and now we're kind of in the aftermath of that. So yeah, there's just it feels so different than the last couple Yakuzas, which I am really enjoying. But all that familiar stuff is there. The way every single system feeds into itself. You've got, the bonds and eating food and all the side quests, and those give you rewards. Like every single thing you do matters to something else one way or the other. Like they have perfected that so hard. So they just like, these games are like you compulsively just want to do everything. You just want to 100% it.
Yeah.
And a huge shout out to the Bonds. They say Bonds 50 million times more than Kingdom Hearts.
This is
Like,
Bonds the game.
There is a fucking Bonds bingo card, dude.
Heck yeah.
You go around like getting in optional conversations with your party members, and it'll fill in a legitimate Bond bingo card. And if you line those up, you get like a mega Bond boost. It's just
so funny.
ridiculous. And the crazy taxi minigame, like you were saying, and what other minigames were there? There's like the
With the party members, because I really didn't play that much of the
Sujimon,
last
yeah.
one.
I'm not a big fan of Sujimon, but yeah.
I'm wondering, like,
Pokemon Snap.
is like, do you get them all kind of like as part of the main quest, or are there like a lot of optional characters?
It's like story beats.
Story beats,
Yeah.
Is anyone like standing out that you want to? Any shout outs, any side characters?
I mean, I'm obsessed with someone, but I don't want to like color people's expectations.
Yeah,
on
I mean,
it 'cause it's not out.
if you've
But
been
there-
following the trailers, you probably know who
Yeah.
the party members are. But if you have not been following them, it is kind of a spoiler to talk about who the party members are.
Yeah, I don't really want to go into that.
Got it.
But there's like a new person that I am just obsessed with. So yeah, and I'm just loving it. I'm
Does
really
it start with a T or does it start with a C?
T.
Okay.
I mean, I've seen
else was
a
there?
few people say it's their actual favorite in the series.
Yeah.
Like huge fans.
I mean, Like a Dragon was my favorite in the series just because.
Wow.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I love Ichiban Kasuga.
Yeah.
Like I said, I love that puppy of a man.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
He's just such a likable character, and what I will say, we've been talking a lot of really positive elements of Infinite Wealth. One negative that I will say is that while the story is a lot more lighthearted, it is, it is
Shenmue vibes.
It is Shenmue vibes, the game. I'm not quite. It doesn't have the same kind of story hook that the first game had, because the first game really was this origin story of this new character, and it was really compelling. Every chapter felt like it ended with some sort of cliffhanger that made me want to jump into the next chapter immediately. I haven't really gotten that from this game. The main quest.
That's why I like it more, though.
All right.
Seriously, because it's so character driven, and like these are always character driven games, but it's like, God, they go into the characters.
They
and
do.
By doing like slice of life stuff in the main scenario instead of like rushing from one Yakuza boss to another, to the crooked cops, to all this other stuff. Like, I just love how it just takes its time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think if you are a fan of Kiryu, like this game, the way it honors Kiryu as a character is just utterly incredible.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen a game have so much adoration for a legacy character like Kiryu, and it pays off long-time knowledge incredibly well.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna make him cry.
Seriously, you're gonna make me cry. Yeah.
All right.
Game is amazing.
You mentioned though you're working on that guide. What about this
Dondoku Island?
Yeah.
So it's if you've watched the trailer, you'll know that there's kind of like an Animal Crossing-esque survival kind of game in Infinite Wealth. What you may not know is that it's so insanely deep. Like, I spent 15 hours playing this mode. My guide is like 15 minutes long. It's absolutely crazy. Like, so basically you arrive at this trash island, the literal trash island. There's trash everywhere. And the idea is that you turn it from a trash island into a 5-star luxury resort. And you do that by clearing out all the trash, fighting all the wash. They're called washbucklers.
Huber loves picking up trash, by the way.
There's a lot of trash in this game.
There's
that's a
so
complaint.
much trash.
Like when you're just cruising down the street, there's like so many things to pick up, and you want to pick that shit up. Like you need those supplies. There's just like pick that up, pick that up, pick that up. Literally picking up cigarette butts. Like come on, little too much.
So you have to. It's a survival game basically. So you're hitting trees to get wood. You're hitting rocks to get stone. You're crafting buildings to increase your satisfaction level. You're eventually you get to a point where you invite guests to your island, and you have to make sure that they have a good experience. So you're giving them souvenirs. You're giving them gifts. It's just layer after layer after layer after layer, and it's not my favorite thing in the world. I did not like working on it, especially when I had Tekken to play. But I think if you are into that style of game, there's so much for you to do there. Because what I'll say about the Yakuza series in general, they are one of the best series at reusing assets and still making compelling content with those assets.
Yeah.
Third game in 1 year. Isn't that insane?
And what they did with this is they basically just have an asset store of structures and items that you can place you can place in your island, and you want to kind of get all that stuff. You want to have the hostess club from one of the towns that you're in. You want to have the Smile Burger or whatever. You can get those things. So there's a lot of really compelling content in there. It's just I was burned out from it.
And I always am such a sucker for the side quests of this series because there's story around it, Like
and there is a story around it too. It's
like
cool.
I always want to see that through, like a Dragon Gaiden, just the Akame network, and that tied into like the Fight Club, and that got really hard. Like at the end there, you had to really grind out your supporting roster. But it's like, the Akame is like such an awesome character. She's like one of the main characters in that game, and it's like, I got 100% this to like see how that pays off because it's tied behind, finishing this whole mini game. So, yeah, they've just really honed and mastered all the side stuff and how it all just feeds into each other.
Yeah.
Nice.
Crazy Taxi.
Crazy Taxi and if Sicko Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, Pokemon Snap. There's legit Pokemon Snap. Pokemon, like so many good things.
It's literally called like Sicko
Yeah.
Snap.
Yeah.
You just take pictures of weirdos doing weird things in Hawaii.
Yeah.
It's
I also really like the Segway thing
Yeah.
to get around.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And like you have to like charge it, and that costs money.
Oh,
so
funny.
so like in the beginning, it's like, dude, this is costing me money to use this thing. Like actually, holy crap!
yeah. I was worried about the size of Hawaii because
Pretty big.
it's pretty big, and one of the problems I've had with previous Yakuza games is that there's a lot of just running from one area to another area, running back to another area. It's like a lot of ping ponging. But in what they do really well about the Hawaii map is that there's a lot of interesting things to do while you're just getting from point A to point B. There's all kinds of different shops that you can go to that might have a new weapon for a new
So
job.
cozy.
There's Sujimon stuff that you can, if you are into that, you could develop that out. There's, like you said, there's those battles with the people with the crowns on their head.
Yeah,
that,
those
kind
are
of
fun.
are guarding
Like mini
safes.
bosses, basically.
Yeah. There's just so much stuff that you can get that improves your character that it's very compelling to just walk from one area to another.
For sure. Also, I just got back from Hawaii, and it is like insane how recognizable some of these spots are.
Right.
Like my hotel was right. It's identical. It's
Whoa.
eerie. It is eerie how similar it felt. Right down to like, there's a stairwell down to a restaurant right there in that spot. Like,
Did they
it's
ha-
What
nuts.
island is it on?
It's Honolulu.
Honolulu. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Do
I'm
they
going to
have-
Kauai next month?
Right? Is
Nice.
the Anaconda shopping district an actual place?
That I don't remember.
okay.
No, yeah. But like right, like the main like beach there, like, and it's like Kona. I think they call it Kona Street in this. Is like right where I was, right where I stayed, and it looks so damn similar. So that was kind of cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. One more headline before we get into also this week's stuff. We want to try to not talk too much about layoffs, but man, this week's layoffs. Oh man, we got big ones. Microsoft is laying off 1,900 employees across Activision Blizzard and Xbox. It includes some ZeniMax people as well, out of 22,000 in their gaming division. So that's a big number still. Also, along with that, President Mike Ibarra is leaving Blizzard, as well as Blizzard co-founder and chief design officer Alan Adam. Phil Spencer called it, quote, part of the process of joining with Activision Blizzard.
Part of the process.
Part of the process. Just 1,900 people going away.
That is like almost offensive. It's really good
My
language there.
hometown has 2,000 people in it.
Right.
This is my hometown.
Part of
getting
the
fired.
process.
Yeah.
Basically.
Jason Schreier was reporting a survival game that Blizzard had been working on had been canceled, Odyssey, which had been in development for 6 years. But they're still saying it probably would be like 2026 if they like gunned
Ramped
it.
up.
Yeah, if they really like pushed a bunch of people onto that.
I mean, it's at what point is like the cost of an acquisition too high? Like it was already a ridiculous acquisition in terms of like the money cost of it.
Yeah.
But like the idea that this is just part of corporations or conglomerates merging, and redundant roles having to get scrapped. It's just insane that is a world where it's acceptable. Yeah, I mean, my heart breaks for those people. It's been such a awful start to 2024 after such an awful 2023.
It's nonstop. Yeah, on the drive in, I was listening to the radio. They were talking about just tech companies laying people off.
Yeah.
How insane it is. And they had some like expert on there, and he was just basically like, do they need to do this? And it's like the smaller companies, yeah, they kind of do. But the bigger companies, no, they do not need to do this. They're seeing such good, big profits, and it's just for the Wall Street. It's just for their stocks.
That was the thing.
Was like the main takeaway. It's
That
like
was one
it's
of the
just for
worst
fucking
things
stocks.
today is when Jason Schreier was on Bloomberg.
Yeah.
they had the stock ticker on there, and it was
just
like going up
Yep.
as he was speaking.
That's all it fucking is, and it makes me sick.
I think they said that for the first time ever, their evaluation of Microsoft was at like $3 trillion.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Good God.
Yeah.
So
Ghouls.
Yep.
on top of that, Riot was the big one earlier. 530 people,
Yeah.
11% of their staff. Riot Forge is just done. So that was basically they were partnering with indies to make all those little games, but they weren't really being marketed. Like half the time, I didn't know those games were coming out.
Yeah, I thought those would be bigger.
Yeah,
Especially after like Arcane, the show crushed it. I was
Right.
like, dude, there's like Riot universe.
and they were saying that kind of similar to what you were saying with the tech story. You know, they grew too fast. They doubled headcount in just a couple of years.
Yep.
On their end.
Which seems to be the story among all
Yeah.
these companies. I think there was a false sense of, the interest in games kind of exploded during COVID, and based on those kind of short-sighted, gains, I guess they decided to expand at a rate that they couldn't support, and this is kind of the result.
Yeah.
Just it seems like not great planning.
Yeah.
It's I have many friends who work at Riot who thankfully made it through, but they were talking about I won't say any details that I know, but like they were just saying that the atmosphere was pretty intense, and like this is public knowledge, so I will share this, but like that there were rumors a little ahead of time, and then they had that memo that was out like an hour ahead of time before people started getting like calendar invites.
Right.
And it's just like, that's so intense. Like that has got to just like tank morale. I can't even imagine.
It's like a game of Russian roulette.
It's so
Yeah.
intense. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
And then a couple more Black Forest Games, with 50 people, about half of their team. They were the makers of Destroy All Human remakes. So that's Embracer. Embracer and continuing that thread there. People Can Fly.
Yeah, that's a big one, yeah.
Lost 30 people, including 20 from Project Gemini, which is a game they're working on with Square Enix. They did Outriders, which they kept repeating a couple of times. Like they hadn't seen any money from
Yeah,
Outriders.
what the hell?
All the money basically went to Square.
This is a solid game.
And they had done
Outriders was
Bulletstorm
solid.
back in the day
Yeah,
too.
Of course, Bulletstorm, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they had the VR version and the Duke Nukem remastered edition of it. Yeah,
I
Bulletstorm.
heard that Bulletstorm VR is not good.
No, I never played the VR one.
Yeah, that just came out, and it sounded like not a great.
Got it.
I don't know if they
It's too
were
bad
even
'cause I
involved in that one.
I
but-
love
I
Bulletstorm.
love Bulletstorm. Love Bulletstorm.
And then Raycon Games, who is behind Ruiner, is cutting 60 people,
Loved Ruiner also. God.
80% of their staff.
Dude.
God almighty.
Dude, Ruiner is a sick game.
Yeah.
That is BS.
So Kotaku's tracked now at least 5,900 layoffs just in 2024. We're
God,
25 days into this
Yeah,
year.
what-
25 days. Woof.
GamesIndustry.biz did a really good article, but it's chilling. A CEO said this year we'll see more closures,
236 people a day, by the way.
and that we're
Oh
looking
my
at
God.
up to 2 years of pain.
2 years of pain?
Yeah. Interest rates are keeping people from investing. There's too many games greenlit in 2020 and 2021 are basically the bigger factors.
Just the ripple effects of COVID are so insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's not the only factor, but
And interest rates. The radio said that too. It's like
Yeah.
record high.
Yeah, that's what they're saying, the interest
yeah.
rates, because it's like, why
Yeah.
invest when we can
Yeah.
get the same return on putting our money in the bank?
Yeah. It's like inflation's going down or staying the same, but the interest is insanity.
Yeah.
I paid less than $4 for gas the other day at Costco for the first time in years. I legit called everyone I knew. Like, yo, gas is under $4 at Costco. Get down here right now. It's
Nice.
fucking hyped.
Gas party.
Yeah.
I will say that GamesIndustry.biz article did get more optimistic towards the end, but yeah.
like in Zoolander. Gas
peop-
party.
People keep circling back around to the Iwata decision from back in the Wii U days, and and I feel like it's getting a little beat to death because it like keeps brought up like every big round. But one point I do want to get into here, and I'll go over the quote again just to give context. So, quote, if we reduce the number of employees for better short-term financial results, employee morale will decrease. I sincerely doubt employees who fear that they may be laid off will be able to develop software titles that could impress people around the world. And I think that justification for why he did what he did and didn't lay people off is essentially being echoed right now for the whole industry. It's like no matter where you are, no matter what company you're with, it like you just feel that pressure. You feel that axe coming down all around you. Like if you want to get a job, it's like, okay, well, great. There's like 20,000 people out there also looking for a job. You know, so good luck.
So scary.
Graduating from college this year, good luck.
Yeah,
It's rough out there.
It is
like
chilling, Bloodworth. That's the best way to put it. It's chilling.
It's kind of like, not to get even more bummery, but it's just kind of like the short-term thinking of the human animal is so interesting to me because it's like climate change, you know? It's just like, let's keep ignoring that. That'll probably work out, you know? And it's like, this is exactly what Iwata said. It's like, this is not long-term thinking,
right?
You know? I mean, scaling too high, sure. Like, I assume that's possible, you know? Like, you could overhire, I guess. But, like, I don't know. If you had forward thinking back then, too, you wouldn't have that problem.
What's wild is, like...
People are not infallible, but...
Huber was talking about the stuff that's on the radio coming in. Like, another thing that they were talking about is, like, we were talking about labor hoarding. Like, other industries are having the opposite problem of, like, they're holding on to people rather than laying them off because they know that, like, they won't get that expertise back. It's like, okay, well, could we have a little bit of that in video games?
Seriously.
But it's like Isla was saying, it's like, even if you got to keep your job, it's like, well, now all your friends just disappeared.
Yeah.
And you have to try to pick up the pieces of what they were working on because they were just, you know, it's like you just get boosted out of Slack. It's like, you're just gone. Bye. Did everyone get your contact info? Who knows? Like, at least Riot seems to be doing like a good severance package, but that doesn't feel like that much of a silver lining with how long people are going to be looking for work. But anyways, also this week, Apple has now opened the door for game streaming services like Xbox Cloud Streaming and GeForce Now to be available through a dedicated app. No longer have to do a workaround through the browser. But the app, this is interesting but kind of funny. The app has to carry the age rating of the highest rated game on the platform.
Oh, okay. So,
Makes
mature.
Yeah. Also, Fortnite is coming back, at least in the EU.
Dude, that old Snake skin is so good. Oh my god.
All of them are pretty good, honestly.
Yeah.
The Raiden skin looks really good too, and so
Dude.
there's I would say it's like the best collection of skins I've seen since like the Street Fighter ones.
Yeah, it is insane. Old Snake is my boy, and I'm obsessed. And they also, even in the game, they added boxes and cloak.
Oh, nice.
So you can like actually go in a box and like sneak around, and you can like throw a bunch down to like trick people. It's awesome.
But yeah, Apple's basically had their hand forced for the EU marketplace. So, but the way this is funny, there's not going to be a Fortnite app, I guess. Or it's weird. I guess there will be an app, but it's like you'll have to buy it through the Epic Game Store app. So Epic Game Store will have an app because that was the whole thing.
So it'll get more of a cut. Epic.
Yeah,
Epic
but they're
will
still
retain
taking a
more.
high cut that Epic is still complaining about. So it's weird.
Here we go.
But that's only Fortnite is only happening in EU. The cloud streaming stuff is happening worldwide.
I also saw them revitalizing this showdown as well this morning. Bloodworth, Fortnite tweeted out about this, and they were like, "The world's watching, Apple." It's like, here we go.
There it is.
Here we
Round
freaking
2,
go.
fight.
Jeez.
We love our crossovers. Evangelion is coming to Tower of Fantasy.
All right.
Don't know what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's from Level Infinite.
Okay.
Kind of similar to Genshin, I guess.
okay.
But yeah.
That would explain why I don't know what that is.
But yeah, a bunch of characters are coming in there. Some of the Evangelions are coming in there as well. So
Shinji, get in the robot.
Half Mermaid, makers of Immortality, teased 2 new games on Steam with heavily redacted titles and descriptions.
Looks too spooky for me.
Project C is roughly described as next level FMV. Hold on to your seats.
So jazzed for that?
Yeah, that's a
Whatever the hell
great
that is.
sell. Wow,
Yeah.
next
After
level.
Immortality, yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, that was already the most next level FMV game that's ever been made. So what the hell is he talking about?
Project D, reinventing
Yo, that can't be a
third-person
coincidence.
horror
Yes.
again.
That can't be a
That
coincidence,
cannot be a
dude.
coincidence, Tyler. Holy
D's coming
fuck.
back.
Dude, is D coming back?
Laura.
Laura! Is this happening?
It's happening.
There's no way.
I'm going to ask them about it.
Dude.
They're also working with Lost and Cult for the bonkers Immortality merch. This is
Laura! Sorry.
Laura!
this 600-page Immortality design work. It's got the entire script. They've got behind-the-scenes photos. They've got a oral history of the game's creation, essays, stuff on the sound design. They've got weird stuff, thermoreactive ink that responds to the heat of your hands.
That's some 1970s James Bond gadget.
A hidden French folded image.
French folded?
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Uniquely interactive reading experience that will bring you.
Is that like a Mad Magazine cover where you have to fold it to see an image?
I don't know.
I bet you're right.
The deluxe edition also has an archival box signed by Sam Barlow with film tickets, posters, newspaper clippings, linear scripts annotated by Marissa Marcel. Lots of craziness.
Cool.
And then they also have soundtracks available on vinyl, cassette, and CD.
Nice.
Roll this. Nintendo posted a quick, weird little trailer for Princess Peach Showtime. It's almost like they just stitched together B-roll. It's barely qualifies as a trailer. Yeah, they just go through each of the different abilities that she's got, the different forms that she takes. So she's got this ninja form, and she's got a
this looks
cowgirl
so
form.
Sick.
It kind of reminds me of Puppeteer.
It really does.
Sure.
I mean, it makes sense. 'cause
Moonbear
the-
King hype. Let's
the
go.
stage and the curtains and everything. Very,
Fuck yeah.
very much Puppeteer vibes.
Love Puppeteer.
I would not be surprised if Nintendo hired some Puppeteer people.
Dude.
But we don't actually know who's making this game yet. Believe it or not.
Wait, what?
We don't know who's making this game.
Say that one
idea
more
who's
time
making
for the
this
people
game.
in the back. What?
We don't know who's making this game.
How's that possible?
It's happened many times.
That's
Nintendo
so
just
weird.
does not tell people who's making games or who's voice acting or anything.
That is so
see it in
weird.
the credits. I'm like, okay.
God, games, calm down, video game companies. Seriously, take a breath. Why are you so secretive? Jeez.
I feel like I don't have a firm grasp of what this game actually is. I see mini games, I see
dress
2D
up.
2D platforming. Is it just a bunch of one-off little bits on the stage that you just go
It
through?
doesn't matter, Mitch. The outfits are all that matter.
You know what? You're right. I'm
Just
in. I just
detail.
want the outfit.
Yeah.
I am curious, whether the outfits are distinct to a certain stage or whether you go through a stage and you pick up a different outfit.
Great question.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't even know who's making the game, so. Nintendo's Koji Kondo has been selected to be the next inductee in the Hall of Fame at next month's DICE
Well
Awards.
deserved.
Yeah.
Also, I've got my travel booked, so I will be there for that. That'll be fun.
Sick.
Haven't been to that show in
Here we go. Flex.
17, 18 years.
Such a flex. Such a humble brag.
So long ago.
Humble brag.
You could say I'm an industry legend.
No, I mean, my Huber, no joke, my first DICE. I was in a round table
I love this.
with Miyamoto and Onuma and Dennis Dyack being there too. Some of the only things I have signed, I got signed at that.
You are out of your mind. I love
Elevator with Yu Suzuki because everybody was
That
there.
type.
I was, I met the founders of BioWare, but I had no idea that they were the founders of BioWare until I
That's funny.
came home and I looked at the business
Wait a
cards
sec.
and I'm like, oh, I was just talking to those guys about video games for a while.
Yeah, the flex continues.
Yeah. Lean
DICE is
into
crazy,
the flex.
and I just have not been back in a long time. I still don't exactly know what I'm going to be doing there, but talking to people. would be
Probably
fun.
going into the VIP lounge.
Yeah.
Very important game journalists. 'cause
Totally.
That's why.
Yeah. Talking to your coworkers at Nintendo.
F-099 now has private lobbies and secret tracks.
Secret tracks, what does that mean?
We don't know. At least I didn't know last night.
Okay.
Andre was jumping in there, but it seems like they're like question mark tracks
Got it.
that will pop up sometimes.
Okay.
They do seem to be on like same environments as existing tracks, but they have new.
That was my next
They've made
question.
new layouts. Yeah.
Oh, okay, new layouts, so.
Yeah.
Bloodworth, when you read this news, did you smile?
Yeah. I mean, like private lobbies
your face.
is always great to have like be able to
Hell
play
yeah.
that with the community. Yeah.
Yeah, did you do a silent little fist pump to yourself?
Play this, Huber.
Yeah, dude.
Arcade Paradise is coming to VR. With
Hidden gem, dude. Arcade Paradise is so amazing.
They've got brand new VR-enabled cabinets.
Oh man, I can clean a toilet in VR.
Yes.
Thank God.
12 fully realized VR arcade cabinets alongside 27 traditionally controlled games brought over from the original version.
So cool.
They've got KO Champ where you're like punching targets. They've got a
Shenmue.
basketball thing. Istvan Speaks, you know, like the little fortune teller.
Oh, yeah,
booth.
yeah.
Smash 'em, which is a whack-a-mole.
Mm-hmm.
Balloon Jack 3D, which I think is one of the light gun games, maybe.
Nice.
And then plus Future Home Inter-Reality with more details to be revealed
Wow.
very soon.
What a great fit.
Perfect fit.
Yeah.
This is one of my
Oh, they got the police simulator.
Yeah, dude. One of my favorite games to stream of all time was Arcade Paradise. Like, this game is so addicting, surprisingly touching with its story. There's like just enough story to tie everything together. Some of the arcade cabinets, you know, hit or miss, but the vast majority of them are really, really fun.
Did they ever patch in an option to turn off the cockroaches?
I don't know. I don't think
Because in
so.
VR, my goodness.
Yeah. Seriously.
Going back to Infinite Wealth for 1 second, on Dondoko Island, there are cockroaches, but they are blurred out, and it just says Big C.
I love that.
So there you go.
The first public demo for Harold Halibut is available today on Steam. Getting out there ahead of Steam Next Fest, which is gonna be bonkers in a couple of weeks. My email is blown up
Yo, do you
about
think
all the Steam Next Fest stuff.
Do you
coming.
think bonkers is like a top 20 word? Top 20 word
Hell yeah.
bonkers?
I think it just misses it. It's 21.
21.
21.
Right
There we go. There we
Shit.
go.
You're probably
Right
right. You're probably right.
Hour and a half of the beginning of that game. If you do not remember it, that's the stop motion game where they like literally made all of that game in stop motion. So cool to see that thing getting around the corner.
Love that.
And then finally, Skull and Bones open beta, February 8th to 11th.
That's a stream. Open beta, dude.
So
I
the full
cannot-
game is on the 16th.
I cannot believe this game is coming out.
It doesn't feel real.
It doesn't feel real.
I still don't believe it until it is like locked and loaded.
Yeah, well, because I feel like that open beta could be like, oh, nope, sorry, go push it.
Yeah.
Open beta feedback was bad,
Yeah,
push it.
open beta feedback. We're going to have to delay the game to
There's
quarter
no
3,
way.
2024.
There's no way Ubisoft will ever let that happen. It has to come out eventually.
So Don truly has no excuse now. He has to play the open beta. It's free. You just click download. We gonna saddle up, Don?
Don is in the other room.
Okay.
Because how big are the squads in that? 4? I think it's 4.
I don't know, but I think 4.
Okay.
But I might just be thinking Sea of Thieves, so I don't know.
Because I need a crew. Because I'm gonna be the tank ship, so my DPS is gonna be lacking.
Sure.
So I'm just gonna be some big tank.
There it is.
Yeah.
February 8th to 11th. Get in on that open beta. All right, it's time for Love and Respect. Love and Respect from Sir Alfred. Hey, allies. A couple quick Yakuza Like a Dragon questions.
Sweet.
What is your favorite minigame in the series? Mine is the Cabaret Club Management. And what are your thoughts on the Don Quixote stores no longer being in the games?
Don Quixote.
I was gonna say I missed the song.
Yeah,
most
the
of all.
song's the best. Loved that store. Mine's the wrestling one, the professional wrestlers.
Oh, yeah?
Oh no, that's a lie. The baseball. The
Just the
baseball
batting
one.
cages?
No, the when you had to like put the team together. I think it was in like 6.
I don't think I played that one.
I think it was 6. Like, they're all blend now, but there's a full-on baseball one where you like recruit players for your team. It's awesome.
Mine actually comes from Infinite Wealth. There's a Crazy Taxi inspired food delivery game. It's surprisingly controls, I would say, better than Crazy Taxi. And it's like the first one that I really wanted to get like S ranks on all the missions, and even then I'm still playing because there's you get points that you can then spend at a shop, and you can get some really good stuff there. So not only is it really fun, but there's also good rewards. So that's the perfect mini game for me.
Hell yeah.
Sick. From Max Miller. Hey, allies. The recent overwhelming success of Palworld has me thinking. If the purpose of releasing something in early access is to receive player feedback and improve things before the main release, should there be a limit on how many people can purchase an early access game? Otherwise, isn't it really just releasing an unfinished product?
I think you know what you're signing up for when you buy it. You the disclaimer's all right there. Usually there's some info as well buried deep in there. You hit that read more button and it's like, yo, this is going to be in early access for so long. This is why it's in early access. So I think that if that's, if there are no lies there, if that's transparent and honest, then I think it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's inherent risk in general with buying into an early access game that isn't really there when you get something that is fully featured and is actually out. It's also, I feel like it's a risk on the developers. For the developer of Palworld to have a game become this popular, that's like a huge boon to them, obviously, because they get a ton of money. But now they have to solve all the issues that come with having that many people playing their game.
Right.
And you saw it on like their roadmap. Like the big thing that was right at the top of their roadmap was like, we have a bunch of critical technical issues that we have to get solved before we even worry about these other things. So yeah, they got a lot of issues to deal with over there.
Damian, any thoughts? Limits?
I'm kind of confused why you'd want to like limit it. The only thing I can think of is like when you have like physical development at a studio, you want to limit access because you're worried people will see it. But this is the opposite. You want as many people to play this to get as much feedback as possible. So I guess I don't share that sentiment about why you'd ever want to restrict that. Like, I don't see a reason why.
Yeah, I guess I could see it like a closed beta or something like that, like approaching it in those but
but isn't that more about like controlling information and your servers? It's usually for servers because you don't have enough you don't want servers to be overloaded too soon because you're not the full servers aren't ready to come online. So yeah, that's always generally understood it. So if it's not like one of those cases like you can handle it, then I don't see why you would limit it. And I'm with Huber. As long as it's like full disclosure of what you're telling people you're buying into, I don't see an issue with it.
Yeah. I think what's interesting, Mitch, what you're saying about the risk of allowing people to jump into something that early access, I've seen so many times. I mean, to some degree, even personally, right, where an indie game with an interesting concept comes around and you see it and you're excited. And there's like a demo, like Steam Next Fest in a couple of weeks, right? There's a demo, and you check it out, and it's like, oh, that's cool. But then, like, you kind of got that hit now, and then when it actually comes out, then it's like maybe not as big of a deal, unless like you were really in that position of like, oh, I can't wait to play more. Like, that doesn't always happen. Like, sometimes it's like, okay, well, I got the idea of this, and now I don't need to see it again, or at least like, I don't need to see it until it's done. I don't need like preview after preview after preview. It's like, just tell me when it's finished or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's always the risk on the developer side of, making a demo and, giving too much away in that first look. You gotta be careful to balance it and still, get their attention, but also don't make them satiated.
Leave them wanting more.
Leave them wanting more. Like Go Mecha Ball came out today. I wanted to play so much more of that game, and I'm sad that I cannot play it right now.
Yeah, the timing on all of that stuff makes it such a difference. From Brandon K. Gann, hello everyone. Recently, John Romero released Sigil 2, a Doom Megawad that's 9 levels within the original Doom.
Fuck yeah.
Dude.
Playable on both PC and console, and it has me thinking, what auteur, if any, would you like to see make and release a new, small continuation of a beloved series?
Yu Suzuki Shenmue.
Okay. Yep.
And I think you don't necessarily have to be like a specific person necessarily, just like adding levels
And
to
not
an
even-
existing game.
Yeah, and spirit of the question too, not even a Shenmue 4, like a Shenmue Gaiden.
Oh,
you
okay.
know?
Mm-hmm.
Play as Londi and like have some other, side story thing.
For me, it would definitely be Itagaki with Ninja Gaiden. I think he's been, he obviously split from Team Ninja a long time ago. Hasn't really had that same level of success, and I think if he was able to come back to Ninja Gaiden, and Team Ninja would, have him back, they can make magic together.
Sick. That's a hard game.
I love that game. Love that game so much.
Any thoughts, Damiani or Isla?
Do you have one, Damiani?
Not at the moment. If you got one,
Just
go.
thinking.
I mean, this is kind of weird. It's more like the Auteur had a game that I really liked, and I want more of that. But I would love to return to the world of The Missing.
Yeah.
J.J.
Nice.
McField, The Island of Memory.
Oh.
Yeah.
The one, Damiani might just agree with me on this. The one I was thinking is Shadow of the Colossus.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That is
Get
a
a couple
good
more
one.
Colossi
Just
in
Put a
there.
couple more in there.
Or just
Yeah,
put
considering
the
how many-
secret
they had-
that everyone thought was in
Well,
there.
they definitely cut some, but yeah, maybe they get another crack. But at the same time, I always felt like it is that's the game they wanted us to
Yeah.
get. There was stuff was cut for a reason. Yeah.
It's time for bets. All right, Mitch. This year, everyone is betting individually, but for guests, since you're not going to be here to rack up points all year long,
There was some collusion up at the beginning of this.
no, everybody was trying to do stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. You have to decide who your bet is going to go to. Currently, Huber has 1 point. Damiani has 1 point. Everyone is at 0. Everyone else is at 0. So yeah, you have to decide now who is your point going to go to next week if you happen to win.
I'm gonna keep it fair. The Royal Rumble is this Saturday.
Yes.
I want to hear from everyone. I want to hear a guess of who's going to win the Royal Rumble, and whoever is closest to my pick is going to win. Just shout out a wrestler name. You know a wrestler.
Steve Austin. I don't know.
It could happen. It could happen.
Stone Cold! Stone Cold!
I would lose my mind, but
would
it
lose my
could happen.
mind.
CM Punk
All right.
or Cody Rhodes.
Great guesses.
Wait, which one are you
The
going
Rock.
with?
Which one do you think will win?
I'm saying The Rock too. I'm actually saying The Rock.
Two picks for the Rock.
Yeah.
All right, Isla gets it. It's I think it's gonna be CM Punk.
Yay, my first guess! Oh, that was some feverish Googling.
Name a wrestler.
I was like, Royal Rumble 2024, wrestlers! Ah!
All right. We talked about.
Cody final 2.
Probably.
Yeah. They should be 1 and 2 and then be 29-30. That'd be sick.
All right, for this week's bet, we talked about Palworld's explosive launch. Last night at 7 o'clock, I checked the Twitch rankings. It was 3rd place on Twitch, behind Just Chatting and GTA 5, boasting
GTA 5.
179,000 viewers. So, I'm asking, where will it be next week, right before we shoot the podcast? I'll be sitting at this desk and I'll look it up. Where's it going to be? Mitch, you go first.
I said 3. I don't think it's going up, or I don't think it's going down.
3. Stealthy Centipede, Huber.
5.
5. Damiani, Pompous Cocker Spaniel.
I also said 5.
Also 5. Wet Hummingbird, Isla.
6.
Dawn, the fashionable manatee.
Don, what are we doing here? Fourth.
Optimistic rat, Gabby.
I think 8. I think Nintendo is shutting it down.
8.
8?
Yeah.
Shutting it
That
down.
is definitely an opinion that I would think a optimistic rat would have.
And I'm the only one that went up 2 for the effervescent hippopotamus.
No
is a
ties.
sneaky
No one
blood.
guessed the same thing.
No, Huber and Damiani both
Oh
got
yeah,
5.
yeah, okay, yeah, my bad.
Yep.
Sneaky number 2. It's only gonna get bigger.
All right. Last week's bet. Last week we put our bets on Tekken. I told everyone I would run a CPU v CPU match between Kuma and Panda on ultra hard difficulty on a random stage, and I asked who would win and how long the match would take. Roll that bets clip there.
Oh, that's so good.
Stealthy Centipede Huber bet 91 seconds, which is 1 minute 31 seconds. Damiani bet 52 seconds for Kuma. Isla bet 1 minute and 12 seconds for Kuma. Dawn bet 65 seconds for Panda. Only Panda bet 1 minute and 5 seconds. Gabby bet Kuma 4 minutes and 9 seconds. And then I bet Kuma 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
Just a round or a whole match?
It was a whole match, so for a full 3 rounds.
Sorry, anyone who picked less than a minute.
So the CPU actually kind of did us a little dirty on this almost.
What?
Even though both characters are set to the same difficulty, Kuma just steamrolled Panda.
Really?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's because it's freaking Kuma, dude. Yeah. Come on now.
Won 3 rounds back to back pretty quickly as well. So it went to Kuma. The final time was 1 minute and 52 seconds,
Wow.
which means Huber won that bet,
Well done, well done.
bringing the scores to Stealthy Centipede 2.
Well, I can barely hear it. It's so stealthy.
Pompous Cocker Spaniel 1.
I wouldn't say that first round was a steamroll. Kuma had only a little bit of help.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be able to watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
But let me tell you about patreon.com/easyallies. Patreon is how we are funded, how we are supported. You have a couple of other options out there, but the main way that you can get in there is on Patreon. It's the most effective way to support us. And we have a lot of different tiers. At the $5 level, you get this podcast a couple of days early. You get it ad-free. You get those bonus Love and Respect questions. You get to submit to Love and Respect, including suggestions for questions and games and the wrong question. You get in our Discord where you can vote on top 10. So we're going to have that top 10 eating and drinking establishments featured on here next week.
Yes, dude.
Dude, I'm looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to something from The Witcher 3.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Specifically Blood and Wine.
Yeah.
How high will camp from Final Fantasy 15 be?
Yeah.
$10, you get to join our contributor tier. We're going to be doing our community showcase next Tuesday after the group stream. Then we got our producer tiers at $25 and up. You get fan mail if you're at $50. You get Golden Voice from Brandon Jones if you're at $100. And then our platinum producers get shout outs on this podcast each and every week. And this month's shout outs go to Javawebs, El Thanis, Greg the Dark Knight Kettering, Jesse Blue, and Raymond Wheeler III. Shout out.
Shout out.
Wow.
Shout out.
Nice. This Tuesday we had our Game of the Year deliberations, so go check that out. We did a little things a little bit differently. Instead of like debating out every single category, we basically just like gushed about a bunch of games before we got to our Game of the Year, and then Game of the Year was brutal. So many good games.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to find the number one was not easy. We went back and forth a lot.
I'm glad we settled on the GTA 6 trailer.
Yeah,
great.
yeah, it was a good pick.
So be sure to watch that video if you want to hear us talk it out. If you do not have 6 hours to spare, however, we are still doing that produced hype fest for everything that happened in 2023. So we're going to be writing that and producing that, and that'll go up early next week. Meanwhile, Mitch, Yeah. Where can people find out more about what you're doing and all that? What do you want to? You talked about the Dragon's Dog preview going up.
Yeah. You can find me at Jurassic Rabbit on Twitter. I always tweet about whatever I'm working on. That said work is going to be on IGN.com. And if you want to follow me on Twitch, I stream typically every Friday with my buddy. We're currently going through Alan Wake 2.
Nice.
And yeah, it's heating up.
Nice. Huber,
Yo.
since you won that bet, you get to shout out anything or anyone that's on your mind. Doesn't have to be an underdog. We'll get rid of the underdog thing. You get the final word, and you get to sign off with your trademark sign off.
Shout out to Reacher, dude. That show is sick. Do not sleep on it. Season 2 just ended. It is fantastic. It's on Amazon Prime. Really, really good show. You'll probably binge it because it's just so damn good.
Nice.
Yeah. What else?
Final word and close.
How long has this been going on?
He changed it.
That's the only thing I changed.
okay.
Yeah, these are the same.
Final word is, dude, Infinite Wealth is freaking amazing. And don't sweat the small stuff.
Dun dun dun.
The Easy Allies would like to thank our Patreon podcast producers. We apologize in advance for all the ally names we are about to misspell and mispronounce. Jabawabs, L. Thanis, Greg the Dark Knight Kettering, Jesse Blue, Raymond Wheeler III, Bradley Spees, Forever Ender, Jay Shee, Jesper Popmel Dufay, Rob Bob Will, Roy Sung, 44 Stars, Alexander Zirianov, Andri, Aurelien Grenier, Beaten Down Brian, Brandon White, Brian Kruger, Colton Piccione, Daniel Martinek, DBA, Dimitri Zetas, Douglas Chomich, Faraz Rizvi, Garrett Holfish, G. Levin, Hayden Hargraves, Happy Gaming, Jesse Blue, Jesus R., Kroldemort, Matthew Pauling, Miguel Rivas, Mo Grant, Paul Sway, Pete Shoemaker, Ronka Q, Ritz 1906, Robert Stoffel, Sage Mode Q, Sam Handrick, Sigma, S-Snake 24, Stomps, Stepan Hakobian, Steps, The Banana Forklift Killer, This Is My Username 1466, Chum Nguyen, Zigazich, Anish Dor, Aaron Haney, Accounts Payable, Adam Henry, Alex Monaco, Alexander Sheck, Anacroth, Anthony F., Anthony Galvin, Anthrioni, Antonio Coyne, Arthur Lau, Osteel, Barry Tomasini, Benjamin Miller, Bob Starling, Brian Foster, Bryce Hornsby, Bunny Chen, C.S. Lewis, Katie Garza, Carlos Delgato, Cassandra McKee, Chief Uhu, Chris Eccles, Christopher Santis, Clay Roberts, Colin Montot, Connell Sumlin, Corey Jackson, Corey Landega, Crumb Eyes, Culinary Stud, Cyberboa, Dan Sebring, Daniel Kozlowski, Daniel Wong, David Aniki, Edison S. Prada Jr., Enya Hank, Eric Crone, Eric Tobias, Eric, Espen Gotchman, Ethereal Ether, Felipe Barbosa, Fishflop, Forrest, Froject, Gabriel Aberg, Gabriel Smith, Jen Woofles, Gino Elite, Gustav Strombaum, Hadi Ali, Harrison Holt McHale, Hitman 47, Isun Chor, Ian Anderson, Isaiah Matthews, Ivan Swade, Jack Forrest, Jan Nicholas Frogshirt Tealk, Gerald, Jesse Fish, Jesse Wilkeson, John McCullough, Junya Motamura, Carl Williams, Keegan Boyle, Kevin Gillet, Lath, Leon Keys, Linson Wu, Lister, Luis Ibarra, Lying Crown 19, Marco Hernandez, Materia Addict, Matthias Clare, Max Miller, Mazrim Tame, Megadet, Mr. Anarchy, Nefertiti Jenkins, Nycrypt, Nick Hill Sharma, Ninja Kitty Meow, Ono Turtle, Orugachino, Pablo Rodriguez, Patrick Held, Pixelated, Pojo TMC, RF Switch, Ray Aldiar, Raylon, Reed Johnson, Richard Ma, Robert Seven Lee, Robin, Ryan Rutger, Salvers, Samuel Copeland, SD Prima, Sebastian Trier, Servino, Sean Johnstone, Cito, Sneaky Gato, Splontot, Stone Soup VT, Strikeout NZ, Sultab, Taffy 9K, T-Beaks 15, Tim Strothman, Toad Shadow, Tomovi Kioni, Travis Ing, Trizac, V8 Dave, Wouter DeHaze, WTF Master Mike, Yami Zetsumi, Zach Wojnar.